Do we all just go out or was it just me?
Yeah, no, I got kicked out too. I don't know what happened.
Okay.
Well, Matt's on mute again.
Let's see if we can do this.
There you go.
Yeah, no, the weird thing is just shut everybody down and then next thing I know, it's kicking everybody out. So it looks like we'll have to start all over again.
It said there was a guest trying to enter. And it said like another session was being launched.
On the last name.
Oh. Let me see here. Let me call Corin. Excuse me. Let me call Corin to because he is today's guest. Okay, let's try this. All right. Well, Barton, you were first in, so why don't you tell us how did you did on contacts, notes?
So I'm still kind of new to town, trying to get out and meet people. And my wife and I did go out on a dog walking group on Saturday, and did meet a couple people and had actually kind of long conversations about real estate, and so they all know that I'm a broker now, and you know, they weren't ready to buy or anything, but they know I'm a broker, and we talked a lot about real estate. And that was kind of it for me. I've kind of been busy doing a lot of other stuff with this. My wife and I bought a house and we're getting ready to move, so kind of been busy with getting that prepared.
Oh, very cool.
So also, yeah, also learning a lot from that deal too for myself. Both from a moving and client standpoint, and also from the agent standpoint, because with Mara I was the agent on the deal. So
By the way, we did find the culprit. It was Warren who popped in, ended the meeting, and is coming back. Okay. Very good. Brandon.
Not too bad. Actually had a fairly productive weekend. My business cards fairly showed up, so I got a few dozen of those handed out to certain people. Wound up actually getting into contact with a potential buyer. They were pre-approved for a VA loan, but their pre-approval amounts really low for what they're looking for, and we somewhat established that they're gonna have to look into more manufactured styles. So I sent them to the bank to try and get just a bank pre-approval, since it'll ease things up a little bit compared to the VA loan. So they're doing that today to see what we can start trying to work out, finding them somewhere. Finally figured out I can start my Ignite classes right here in the middle of it, and I don't got to wait for it to come back around. So that was good news.
Yay.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. So things are starting to move along a little bit here.
Very cool. Well done. It helps when you get that. Just a second here. I'm going to send this, taking care of two things. Okay, let's see if we can get them in that way. Very cool. Well done. It's amazing what happens when when our business cards come and how much of that releases some limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Helps you feel like you can actually get out there.
Exactly. Okay, we've got some people that didn't come back on, so I'm a little curious as to what happened to them. In the meantime, we'll keep going. Hong,
So last Sunday, I met two of my old college friends, and they are moving back in town. So we have a coffee conversation, and I told them that I'm training to become a real estate agent, and if they're interested of looking for a house or renting a place, so I can work with them and find them a house they want.
okay. So let's change your mindset. You're not trying to become a real estate agent. You are a real estate agent.
Oh, I say I'm training to become. I'm training. Yeah.
Oh, training. Okay.
Yeah, training.
Yes. I am a real estate agent. Training comes with it. See, nobody knows this job.
Okay.
You're the ex. Yeah, just a second. He's asking for me to copy it again. Oh.
Wake up.
What's that?
Oh, sorry. Home with the wife and kid today.
Oh, okay. Okay. Very well. Good. It's one, getting in front of people, educating them. And the better you educate, then the more you're gonna have better conversion rates. Okay. Rebecca.
Hey, so we actually turned in an offer on a house in Eugene on Friday, and it was kind of crazy because they received our offer and another offer that were exactly the same, but ours went in first. And then they saw that we were real estate agents, Josh and I, and they got scared. They're like, what? We don't want to work with real estate agents. And they were worried that we were gonna like nickel and dime them like for everything because we knew the business or whatever. But that was kind of crazy. Anyway, they ended up accepting our offer. And so we're going through that process. And yeah, like Bart said, that it's cool to be able to kind of like do it from being your own buyers side of things and to kind of see what it feels like from that angle. So that's been really cool. So
Congrats.
also, I went to an open house yesterday and I walked in and here in Portland and Nolan was there. He was there for Matt, one of his houses that I went and looked at yesterday, and that was really cool to do that. So I went and saw a few houses yesterday, and you know, giving feedback to some of the brokers that were there was interesting. I guess that's something that maybe I wasn't exactly sure, like what kind of feedback that they were asking for. I don't know if that's something that we talk about. What kind of things that we should comment on and some things we shouldn't comment on. So yeah, maybe we can talk about.
What do you mean by what should you comment on? What shouldn't you comment on?
Yeah, because she was asking me like, so do you have any comments for the sellers about the house going after touring it? And I was like, well, I mean, you know, the smoke detector alarm was beeping because you needed to replace the battery. That was kind of annoying walking through with that happening.
It's a big one.
And then also like as soon as you walk in the door, it's like you just overpowered with this perfume that was like, you know, trying to
Hide something.
hide something. Yeah.
When somebody asks you, and as a realtor, get used to being honest and transparent.
Yeah.
If there's an odor, there's an odor.
Yeah.
Okay. When you look at the eyes through the eyes of a buyer, when you look at the
Right.
house through the eyes of a buyer, your perception changes.
Yes.
If the alarm's beeping, guess what that's going to do?
It's gonna be
going to-
annoying.
that's going to affect how you look at the house. It's distracting, and they're not 100% there.
Right.
Have those, and also change those when you're looking at it from the buyer's perspective. Change it to when you're at the listing. Okay, hey, are your carbon monoxide and your smoke detectors changed? Are they ready to go? Right?
Right.
We need to make sure they have fresh batteries in them so they don't beep, because that is a distraction.
Yeah.
Okay, those are loan qualifying things. So well done. Way to get out there, way to get in front of people. Always be honest and transparent. Don't sugarcoat it.
Right.
When you sugarcoat it, guess what you're not? A realtor.
Okay.
Don't sugarcoat it for your clients.
Okay.
The
So
next thing-
also,
I
oh,
was-
sorry.
I was gonna say, the next thing you're gonna try to do is then they'll ask you to sell their house for 50,000 more because you've sugarcoated it.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Well, that was it was kind of crazy because my husband and I, Josh and I, we were talking about the house right next door to us. Like, we saw that it sold at like $580,000. And we're like, what the heck? Like they listed it at 450. And so it sold at like $130,000 over asking price. And we just thought that was like so crazy. And so I'm like, I need to get out there and like be looking inside people's houses, because when I toured that house when it was an open house, I was like, oh my gosh, they're going to be lucky if they get 450. And it went like 130,000 over. I'm like, this is insane to think that these houses that need so much work, that they're being sold for so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I think that's what's going to help me, is being able to go to like several different open houses to be able to see like really what's out there as compared to what like I guess I had in my mind.
And I think that's good, right? And
Yeah.
I think the more you get out in front of people and the more you're looking online, look at different aspects of how much was it listed for? How long did it take to go pending?
Right.
How much did it sell for?
Yeah,
Sure,
exactly.
you can tell every house's story.
Right. Right.
Okay. We all have the market and we have the averages, but guess what? Every house has its own story. Every house has its own market.
Exactly. For
Okay.
sure. I did notice that.
Well done.
All right.
Did you have more?
Yeah, I did have more actually. So this morning I had my 2-hour RMLS orientation class. And then also Josh and I were working on email campaigns this weekend, kind of doing like a drip email campaign where like every couple of weeks that we'll send out a new thing, sort of like a blogish kind of thing. Just talking about what's going on with the market, some TMO graphs that we'll write up, and then just like little fun comments about stuff. And then so we've got them planned out like until December. And one thing we were going to talk about December is like, do you want to give the gift of your equity? Because did you know that you can gift part of your equity? And you could gift it to yourself or to somebody else. And anyway.
Love it.
So that, and then we also, so I had a meeting with a friend on Friday, and she said that they actually are still locked into living in their house for another 5 years. But she gave me the name of somebody else who she said that she knows they're interested in looking for a house. So she gave me a nice referral. So we'll see how that goes. I texted them and haven't heard back yet. So I'll reach out again.
Well done. Cal.
Yeah, a decent weekend. I was able to kind of get together with some old friends and different colleagues from when I lived here previously. So it was kind of nice to get some face-to-face interaction, even though they're not necessarily in the market to buy or sell. They're pretty well connected. So it's great, kind of referral opportunity. And I'm still kind of dialing in on trying to get all the technology and stuff like that up to speed. And I'm also still waiting on business cards. So it will be kind of nice when those comes in, just to have that extra touch of professionalism to be able to give them out.
And the big thing also is don't let the business cards, where I was going was, don't let the business cards and your limiting beliefs, is we all have a
Right.
cell phone, right?
Yep.
Send them your information. You know,
Right.
Make up your own contact card of yourself.
Yeah. And then you can just send that to them.
Send that to them and they add you as a contact.
Right.
Make sure it's your professional stuff and you're good to go, right?
Yeah.
And it makes it easy.
Yeah.
Okay.
True.
Well done. Way to get in front of people. Jared.
Yeah, I have a question for you, Rebecca. Was that Perfume House in Veneta by chance?
Sorry, I was just responding to you. No, it was in Portland.
Oh, okay, because I
Yeah.
tell you, I've been in 20 homes in the last 2 weeks, and that place in Veneta, I mean, they had like a perfume thing on every spot, in every wall, in every part of the home.
It was so overwhelming. Yeah. But
I
no,
could
the one I
smell- I
had
could
was in
smell it.
Portland.
I could smell it from outside the home when, as I was walking by part of the.
No way. Oh
Yeah,
my
it was-
gosh.
And it
I
has,
felt like I
literally
smelled it
couldn't
on
walk in one of
myself.
the rooms. The perfume was so intense, I couldn't walk in one of the rooms. It was like,
Yeah.
anyways, that was
Too
really
much.
interesting that you brought that up. So
Yeah.
I just got back from driving around for 3 hours showing a client properties everywhere. And it went well. There's a lot of stuff out there that needs work, that some work has been done to. And of course, while I'm doing that, I'm not generating any leads during that period of time, but got a really solid seller or buyer right now, sorry. And I've been working hard at trying to get that moving forward as much as possible right now. So yeah, I need to focus more on my lead generation, but been making more friends as I'm going along here as well.
good. Good. One of the questions, how do you get your clients, Jared, I'll ask you the question since you brought it up. How do you get your clients to know that they're engaged and ready to write? One of the questions I always ask my clients after every showing, every house is, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think? Why do I ask that?
Well, to get their feedback on how they feel about the home.
I want to gauge their interest.
Yeah.
If it's 8.5 or above, sounds like it covers a lot of territory. Is this something that I should be reaching out to the other agent to make sure to see what we're going up against? Right? It may be a house they're interested in if there's no competition. Right? It may be, we're willing to compete a little bit, but not much. Right? But if they have, for instance, offers at 130 over, then you don't waste your time. Right? So knowing that every house has its own story and your job is to tell that story.
Right now, I'm just busy nailing down, exactly what they're looking for in a property, and they want to shop, and that's a big deal to them. And so finding a property with a shop right now, anywhere around anywhere, is just difficult. Those prices are higher. Or finding a property that has room for a shop, you need a little bit more space, and it's kind of a big deal for them. Honestly, they're retiring, and part of what fits into their program is there being a shop. And so it's just difficult out there. The homes that do have shops that are nice are going for, significant more, because even any type of building right now is more.
Good. Stay on top of it. And that's follow.
Hey, Matt, I have a question about your conversation there.
Yeah.
So let's say you're a seller's agent, how much leeway do you have to, if you have a buyer's agents call you up, how much leeway do you have to talk about the price of offers that have come in?
I would say this. It depends. As a listing agent, if you have permission from your sellers or from your sellers, you can disclose anything you want. They can have full transparency. If they want you to disclose every price that you have in hand, then you disclose every price.
Which is to their advantage.
I was going to say, to the sellers, that's to their advantage, right?
Okay.
But the other thought is from a buyer's agent standpoint, what do I take from that? If they're giving me all of that info, I then ask, what are we doing? When's the timeline? When are you stopping? When's the deadline? Right?
Okay. Sure.
So when's the deadline? Because great, you'll see my offer at 5 minutes till. Because if I submit that offer first, that offer is going to be used against my clients. But if I'm the last one to the plate, then that makes a difference.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
So be able to gauge what you're getting and what your sellers are able to give you. It actually works to the seller's benefit to say, hey, we've got an offer in the 375 range right now.
Right. But don't necessarily do that without their permission.
Yeah, no, you have to have their permission. Get it in writing.
Okay.
All right. Aisha.
How's it going?
I am refreshed, recharged, and ready to get back to it. So thank you.
Nice. I liked those river pictures. Those were awesome.
Yeah, my son's paying for that.
They
Got some- literally,
look like fun.
he actually walked the whole river.
Really?
We made sure everybody who got stuck got unstuck, and he made $50 that day.
Oh, nice. Little salesman.
Yeah, exactly. So
So what have I done? So I've probably made like, I don't know really what you consider a contact, but I've made probably like 10 new contacts, probably
Good.
like 3 more like legit ones. Like the other ones were maybe just like more conversations, but they were like new people that I met. I've been like kind of trolling Facebook, some of the gardening pages that I do, and it'll come up real estate or whatever. And then I got this lady like stalking me basically on my Facebook page and like really interested in real estate. So she
Good.
was a contact. I just set up an appointment today with this guy that I've been friends with. He works at a convenience store that I go to like every other day. So he's kind of seeing from the beginning, I'm like, oh, I got my real estate license. And he's like, oh, really? I'm looking for a house. But he's had a really low amount that he can afford. So it's kind of like the other guy that talked earlier about the manufactured loans. I didn't want him to be my client really at first because he told me that he doesn't do contracts. And I told him that if he worked with me, he'd have to do a contract. But I figured out the reason that he didn't want to do a contract, and I kind of overcame that objection because he was only approved for like 210. And so he basically was like, well, anybody that can find me a house is my real estate person. So I explained to him, well, you know, all the real estate people see all the same houses. I'm like, they're not going to work really hard for you because they don't have a contract with you, and you could just like go with somebody else, you know? And then they're like doing all this free work for you. So I have a contract. And then we didn't talk about it again for like a while, but I've always been kind of checking in on him to see how his situation's going. And then I found out about those manufactured loans. So I got him to, I know that he's already approved. So he's got his finances in order. And he also just got another pension since the last time he got approved for a loan. So I got him to call one of the lenders that I've been talking to, and he's going to try to go for that manufactured loan, and then we're going to have an appointment. I also have been doing, still have not got my business cards, whatever website I ordered them from. It's taking a really long time to get to me, but I'm supposed to have them by next weekend.
in the meantime, create that contact of yourself that you can share with people.
Yes. I also have been doing, I signed up for RedX last week, so I have to learn that platform. And so I've been kind of watching their orientation videos and trying to figure out how that all works.
Good.
So yeah.
Very cool. Well done. I'm going to butcher this. Is it Irene or Vina?
Irina.
Irina.
Yeah.
Hi, Irene.
Yes. Hi. So I'm brand new, actually. Just started or just signed my contract with Keller Williams Capital City on Friday.
Welcome.
So thank you. I spent all of this morning calling WVMLS, getting my signing up for the Realtors Association. Did my new agent orientation this morning as well. And then yesterday was actually my dad's birthday, and we had a huge party. There were about 60 people there. So it was the perfect opportunity to really let everyone know that I'm official, that I'm working with Keller Williams. Not anything solid. Yeah, not anything solid yet. No one was interested in buying or selling at the time. But I got my name out there, got the information out. So now, and then also yesterday had a little branding photo shoot. So looking forward to getting the business cards, contacts, like my Instagram, Facebook page, everything set up and ready to go.
Perfect. Sounds great. Welcome. We're happy to have you. We're happy to
Thank
do business with you.
Thank you. I look forward to working with everyone.
This will blow your mind. Daisy. Are you able to check in, Daisy?
Hello. Yes, just a real quick check-in for me because I'm driving. I am up in Washington on my way home right now. This weekend I met a lady whose mother died, and she's like, "Oh, you're a real estate agent. Can you sell my house for me?" And I was like, no, but I can find somebody up here who can. Let me get back to you with a referral. So my homework is when I get home to find somebody up here in Port Angeles that can do that for her.
In
But
Port
that's
Angeles?
Port Angeles, yes. Port Angeles area.
Okay. Yeah,
You know anybody, Matt?
there's actually a website that
Okay.
there's actually a Facebook page that says who's your go. Basically, you just put on it. It's a KW referral network where you just go on Facebook page and who do you know? Who's your agent? Who's your go-to agent in Port Angeles? Got a listing going. Got somebody who's a listing agent, and then shut off your phone for about an hour.
What's the average referral fee for something like that?
Usually take 25%. It's up to you. It's negotiable.
All right.
You can take 20%. You could take, the other thing I do is I take like the first 3 names that come in and I interview them
Okay.
to see what's a good match. What's your client? Is your client in high? Are they a D? Are they an I? Are they a S? Are they a C? So you got like personalities, right?
Okay.
Okay. So, so that's a good thing. Okay. Well done.
Thank you.
Yep. Emily.
Hi there. Let's see. On Friday, I met with Sarah Noel in the office for a few different marketing things we worked on. And I also met with Liliana to set up my templates for Zip Forms Plus. What else have I done? Oh, I do hair sometimes on the weekends, and I had a friend over this weekend. I did her hair, and I said, "Can you walk through my house in the eyes of a buyer and tell me the things that you can pick out?" And so I made a list of just little things that she noticed that she would probably work on before staging the house or, presenting it to sell, which was kind of interesting. And let's see, my neighbors disclosed last night that they are in the business to look into buying soon. They're renting their parents' house. They're across the street from me.
Okay.
And so I might be working with them. I have other questions for them, but I'm not sure what if they're an A, B, or C right now. It seems like they're more of a C right now, and they're just like wanting to buy, not quite ready. So I'll have to ask a few more questions, but they want to come through my house when I post it. I don't think they'll be interested because they need something a little larger for their family, but yeah, it'll be fun to work with them. I met with Liliana again today. Yep. And then tomorrow I'm going to attend the class with Liliana. It's a contracts and forms class. So just getting things ready because I'm about to post my house here soon. Probably post it for pre-listing this coming Thursday.
Oh, good.
And then possibly ready next Thursday. We'll see. So that's about it. I've been super busy just trying to keep up with my lawn and get my house ready. But other than that, I did get one contact this weekend, and I feel like, I designed my business cards. I was up till 3 a.m. doing that on Friday night. So those are in the works and printing. And I also ordered my lawn signs. That was today.
Very cool.
So yeah, been busy.
There's a lot to it, right?
Yeah.
Well done. Jake. By the way, if anybody has a chance to list their own house, if they're thinking about selling and you can list, it's a great practice, great experience to go through. Jane can attest to that. The hardest thing to do is take the emotion out of it for yourself.
I'm not too attached to my house, so it's all good.
My first phone call coming back from vacation was one of my agents listed their own house and he doesn't have an offer on it and it's 5 days. So like, you're overpriced.
And you attach the price.
Never get attached to the price, right? Jake.
Good to see you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Emily, I'll see you at class tomorrow. I'm doing it. Lily does a great job. Neighborhood cul-de-sac picnic on Friday. Neighbor who's well connected in various things here in Salem wanted 5 of my cards. I had plenty to give him there. So I'll see what the heck that brings out. Handed out some cards the night before. And yesterday with my office mate, we did an open house for her listing. So it was nice. It was a beautiful day to have an open house in Salem. Weather was great and quite a few people came in, handed out a few cards. Trying to get more and more public as things come about and get my name out there. And at the same time, as I've shared with this group, simultaneously, I spend a part of my Saturday morning with my high-tech daughter, just having her teach me basic stuff. So, you know, I'm just going to become this Renaissance man of all kinds of things by the time this is moving into the end of the year. That's all I can do. So
love it.
So there you are.
Emily, I think it's great that you shared the price with everybody and not just Jared. So 307 in Independence, if anybody wants to view her listing. Jacqueline. You're on mute.
Sorry. I wanted to ask if somebody could put it in the chat, if that contracts class and forms with Lily is something I can go to too. If so, please put it in the chat, Jake or someone. Anyway, I was out and about. I really worked on, I realized that I could meet all kinds of people outside. So as long as I join all these classes that are in nature, I'm meeting people, and then those people, I'm getting to know them, and then they're offering to let me work with them at other classes that they're in. So my whole thing is relationships right now, I feel. So I've met at least 20 people. So that was a great weekend for me.
Awesome. Love it. Kim.
Okay. Okay, I've been working on my forms, my zip forms, and the DocuSign, kind of getting those linked out. And Friday night, my husband and I did kind of a mock run through with my scripts, and he was the buyer and I went through all of that. We had fun with that. And then I would, he would get the DocuSign, sign it, send it back. So we did that whole little role play thing, which was fun. And I looked at several houses this weekend, and a couple of the ones that I looked at on Friday were actually pending already this morning. So I have a bunch that I put on my watch list in MLS, and they're just going. And then this morning, I spent some time with the reports, and I printed out all the TMOs, and it was really interesting to look back from last week, a month before, and compare all those numbers. I mean, there wasn't a lot of change from last week to this week, but if you go back a month, there were some changes. That was kind of interesting to see, really, to really study that and to know, feel like I know what's going on better with the market. And then also what I'm working on right now is I have a big map, and I got on HomeSnap, I printed out a list of the homes most likely and likely to sell. And I'm putting together little neighbor packets, not packets, with my card and my announcements, and I'm going to go door to door hopefully later this week, and just meet my neighbors and let them know, hey, did you know the neighbor right up here on Shirley Street just sold for 510 end of June? And just
Good.
kind of share that information about some local houses in the neighborhood that have sold. And then working on Facebook, I've been reaching out to people personally who they aren't in my immediate sphere, but people that I'm connected with on Facebook. So I'm doing that. And then also reaching out to different vendors that I've worked with in my own personal life. Hey, I'm in real estate. Putting my cards in there, sending them a note, personal note, and I'd love to work with you, blah, 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 kind of a thing. And that's about it. Lots of busy stuff going on.
Good, very good. And then Briley, we got about 5 minutes, and then we're gonna jump in here with Corin.
Okay, hey Matt, it's good to see you.
Good to see you.
So thank you. So sorry for the background noise. So basically, I listed Frank's property today. So that's active. So that's cool. We'll see how that goes. And I made a few contacts over the weekend. I set an appointment to meet the gentleman with the $2 million property for this week. So that's good, and we'll see what he wants to do there. And then the people that want to buy Frank's property, they're also looking at another listing, and they're interested in that. So I'm just keeping in touch with them. And
Well done.
yeah, that's about it. And I'm working on business cards and stuff. So
Okay. In the meantime,
Yeah.
like I said, just get your contact, make a contact of your own card so you can just share it. And that's
okay,
the same thing as a business card to somebody. Just have your information, your phone number, your address, just put where you work, the address of where you work.
Okay.
Address. And then it's basically a contact card where you can just go to your contacts and hit share contact and send it over to them. They hit add contact to their contacts and it creates you right there.
Right. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you.
Well done. Let's touch base later on today. Okay.
Sounds great. Thanks.
Jane.
I did two open houses at Sim House over the weekend, and I got probably 3 contacts that they are waiting for me to follow up with. I'm still working on the second part of my house closing, and I met with the inspector. Not inspector, the pest control this morning. I had this buyer's agent very aggressive. She is not giving any giving us trouble on HOA documents, and they said I have mouse issues. So I'm just dealing with her, which it's just, I think she's just trying to, it's a tactic for us to drag down the HOA review period. Other than that, I follow up with the 3 people I met over the weekend and put them into command. So that's why.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well done. Keep it up. Get in front of people. April, last but not least.
Oh, I just put off my mute button. Okay. I didn't do a whole lot today. I was dealing with things with my mom, but over the weekend, I did more research on the houses. My buyer that I had previously, his house in Reno did go through, so he won't be buying here. The new lead reached out to them, working on door hangers for some prospecting. And that's my story.
Very cool. Way to go. Actually, we just had one more join us. Amanda.
Hello.
Hi. Perfect timing.
Hi.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was trying to find the link and was having a hard time. So I just started watching some pre-recorded videos, and now that's probably what you heard when I first logged on. Okay, there we go. Now I can see everyone. Hello.
Hi. How many contacts, how many ads to the database did you have? How long have you, well, which office are you out of? I don't think I've met you before. Have I met you before?
Me, you're talking to me?
Yep.
Yeah. No, I have not met anyone. And I'm out of Capital City
Perfect.
in Salem.
Very cool. Welcome. Welcome, everybody.
Thank
It's Ignite.
Is my dog in here?
This is Ignite. And today, I'm excited more than anything. I get to introduce Corin, who is part of Eugene and Springfield. I know Corin fairly well. He makes it a point to get up at least 4 times a week and join scripts. And I love that, the commitment and whatnot. So I'm excited you are actually going to teach this class. It's called Find and Show Homes. But Corin, you've been in the business, is this your 3rd year? 2nd year?
You can tell me however many years it is. I'm into my 2nd year. How about that?
There we go.
No one ever asked me that, so I don't know the answer.
That's awesome, right? Anyway, he's got over 15 years experience in risk assessment, income credit analysis, as well as commercial and consumer lending. And then he joined the wonderful side of real estate. He's a resource for his clients and fellow agents in all facets. He's a great resource, and we found that out in scripts too. Since day one, he's always given back with his knowledge, his professionalism. So I'm excited you're here, and you're going to teach them Find and Show Homes.
I am. Thanks, Matt. Thanks for the introduction, and I will do a shameless plug for scripts Tuesday through Friday, 8:20. And do you do the 4 o'clock one too?
I don't do the 4. We didn't have enough.
Okay, I didn't think so. So 8:20 in the morning, it's a great way to wake up. You can just sit there with your cup of coffee and slurp it with your mute on. But Matt does a great job teaching that too. So I'll do a shameless plug for him as well.
Thanks. Well, you got your first week without me, right?
Exactly. All right. Well, thanks, Matt. Good morning or good afternoon, I guess, everybody. It's been going. I just got back from vacation as well, so I'm trying to get my brain re-gauged into work. I think I missed a couple of you guys as far as your updates. I was a little tardy getting in, so apologize for that. But it sounds like some of you guys are brand new. Some of you guys have been doing this for a little while. So that's great to hear that you guys are hopefully staying with your N4s and all that fun stuff. So yeah, today we're gonna learn about finding and showing homes. I think last class, was it Find and Win Buyers? Am I correct? Was that the last class you guys attended? Yeah. Did you guys find and win buyers? Sound like a couple of you guys did. Anybody find and win buyers since your last class?
I did.
Excellent. Good.
With the last class was actually buyer consultation.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Switch
The
it
same
up on
thing
me.
basically, but
Excellent. All right. Well, yeah, I'm going to teach you how to find and show homes. Looks like some of you guys are already doing some of the stuff we're going to cover in class today. So, I just wanted to go through. Did you guys all have your Ignite packet? Yeah. Okay.
Good.
Go through that primarily. There's a PowerPoint, but I'm probably not going to go over it too much. Because it pretty much just duplicates what your Ignite packet is. So if you have your Ignite packet, maybe keep that handy. We're going to go through a lot of that.
Also, real quick,
that, Matt?
you have host capability, so you can share screen as well.
Okay.
All right. Have fun.
Yeah. Thanks, Matt. So yeah, we're going to go through that a little bit. Find and show homes. As we go through, you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. either unmute yourself and ask it. I'll try and keep track of the chat. Depending on what I'm doing, sometimes it's a little harder to see that. So if the chat pops up and I don't respond, unmute yourself and ask the question fully. Real quick, let's go through. I kind of caught some of you guys, but just real quick, your name, where you're at, and how long you've been an agent. I want to get to know some of you. Some of you already have met through various things, but real quick, if we could just go through so I can kind of get an idea of who you are, what you're doing, where you're at. So just name, how long, and what market. Aisha, can we start with you?
Sure. So I got my real estate license, I think it was in March, and it took me a little bit to figure out which agency I wanted to work with. I think I took like 3 weeks. So I signed on with Keller Williams probably at the very end of April, and then caught the second half of Ignite the last time that it was. I don't remember exactly when it was. Maybe it was May or June. I feel like I've been taking a really long time, but so to get things going. But I feel like I'm building a really good solid base, starting to feel a little bit less overwhelming. And I feel like I've been meeting people and just like building relationships like I should be. And it's gonna all fall into place pretty soon, I think. I think in another couple of weeks, I'll like really start taking off with it. So
Excellent.
that's it.
Great. Cal.
Yeah, I'm Cal. I'm down in the Eugene area, and I just started last week with Keller Williams. I'm excited.
Excellent. Welcome, Cal.
Thank you.
Hoen, sorry, I don't know how to.
Yeah, so I'm Juan. I'm in Eugene, and I joined Keller Williams last Friday too.
Okay, excellent. So you really like 1 day or?
1 week already.
Oh, okay. So it was the previous Friday. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, welcome. Jared? Muted. Jared, you're muted.
Sorry about that. My name is Jared Deerling, and I got licensed back in March and took, Asia, sorry. It took me about 3 weeks to decide kind of who to go with, and I've been going ever since. This is my second Ignite, and just plugging away here.
Excellent. Jared, what did, sorry, I missed what, are you down here in Eugene Springfield or where?
Yeah, sorry, I'm Eugene Springfield.
Perfect. Excellent. All right, Kim?
Oh, hi. So I got my license in the end of June, and so I've been new at it, and I feel like I'm getting a pretty good foundation to get going.
Good. Yeah,
So
and
ready
it
to
sounds
go.
like some of your recap, but you've been doing a lot of stuff, and some of that stuff I think we're covering today in the class. So certainly provide your experience as we get through that material. So,
Okay.
Jane?
Hi, Corin.
Hey, Jane.
I started later part of April, and listed my house 3 weeks later, but I'm still not closed it. The first buyer agreement fell through. Actually, if you haven't heard, 3 days before the closing, and we got the $10,000 for the first money. We are doing the second one, and the offer was like just $1,000 less. So I'm good with that. Right now, I'm still in the inspection period. I'm working with some buyers. Basically, I got them through open houses. I've been doing a lot of open houses almost every weekend. And right now the market is just, it's not like there's no buyer, there's no house. That's my problem. I was telling Matt this morning, everybody wants the same house in the same neighborhood. And I just see 2, and they were not, even match all the criteria. So, just going forward, I don't know. I'm still figuring out what to do.
Yeah, well, Jane, that's a great thing, and that is a common problem for a lot of realtors, especially buyers agents right now. So some of that we're going to hopefully cover today, as far as how to find those houses, show them, as well as be somewhat successful in making your offer, or at least putting forth as strong an offer as you can. That's part of the process with finding and showing homes. So
great, thank you, Corin.
Rebecca, you're just where you're at and how long you've been a realtor?
Yeah, hi. So we currently live in Portland, but we're moving down to Eugene, and we're connected with the Springfield Eugene Market Center there. And I've had my license since June, and my husband got his license in May. So we are working at this together. And so that's where we are.
Fantastic, excellent. Irina, real quick.
Hi, I'm Irina. This is Leo. I got my real estate license July 23rd and then joined Keller Williams on Friday. And I'm with Keller Williams Capital City here in Salem.
Excellent. Is Leo an agent in training, or has he decided where he's going to go when he grows up?
You know what? We're still working on that. He's just kind of getting all the free training.
All right. He's just soaking it up by osmosis, right?
Yes.
Excellent. Brandon?
Yeah, so I got licensed early July, and I'm with Keller Williams down in Eugene, Springfield.
Excellent, Brandon. You're the one of the ones I missed. I think your brief overview this morning, or at the beginning. So nice to meet you.
Yeah, you as well.
Jacqueline, I think I've seen your face before.
Yeah, that's for sure. I'm definitely an agent in training, and I was raised with realtors. So they were realtors because I was raised in California. They weren't brokers. And I'm with Eugene Springfield, and I'm about 5 weeks in.
Perfect. Excellent. Jake at KWCC.
That's correct. Got my license in early May and got into the back part of the Ignite going into the end of June, and trying to just put things in place. Good to hear other people's stories, and looking forward to hearing what you have to say today.
Okay. Excellent, Jake. Emily?
Sorry, fat fingers. I'm in Salem with Capital City, and I got licensed back in like February, but it took me a few months to figure out where I was going. And I really became active when this session of Ignite started, like a month and a half ago.
Excellent. And I see, is it your house that's for sale in Independence, Oregon?
Yes, it is. Well, it will be.
It will be anyway. Yeah, no, I graduated from Central High
It will
School.
be.
From Central High School.
Oh, cool.
So I'm
Very
very
cool.
familiar with that area. And actually a few months ago, I sold a house up in Dallas. So.
Nice.
Barton.
So I got licensed at the end of June, and I moved here from back east about a year ago during COVID. So I haven't met a whole lot of people here yet. So just trying to meet a lot of people and trying to make some contacts here. Didn't know our son lives here, so we moved here for that, and we know him and my daughter-in-law and her parents just before a couple of months ago. So just trying to get out and meet people and get started with things. Everything's starting to come together a little bit more, or make a little more sense for me. So
Excellent. Barton, you are Eugene Springfield?
I'm in Eugene Springfield, yeah.
Fantastic. Excellent. Jared. You there, Jared? You ran away? There he is.
Oh, I already introduced
Oh,
myself.
that's right. You guys are
I'll do it
bouncing
again if you
around.
want.
Sorry. You're good, Jared. Sorry, when you muted or screened your shot, went to somewhere else. Let's see here. Who haven't I touched yet? Amanda? I don't think I've heard from you yet.
Hello, yes. I've been with Keller Williams for almost 2 weeks now. This is my first class, and yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully I'll help
pretty
you
much
cut
it.
your teeth a little bit easy.
Can I ask a
With,
question?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
who's asking? Jacqueline, yeah.
Oh, I don't know if you were done. I'll wait. You done, Amanda?
Yeah,
What?
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
I just wanted to ask if you could kind of give us some ideas on how to work during, if the Delta virus gets really strong, how you did that last time showing property? If there's any tricks of the trade. Thank you.
Yeah, fantastic. That's a great question. I'll put that on my list of things to cover for sure. Is there anybody else that I haven't covered yet or asked real quick? I know you guys have probably all met yourselves 500 times, but I'm just new to this and I've only seen a couple of your faces. So April, did you?
Yes, my name's April and I'm in Eugene Street, or no, that's not you guys. I'm within the Central Oregon area.
Central Oregon?
Yeah, and I've been an agent since I think first part of May.
Okay. Excellent. I think that was, is there anybody else that I didn't get introduced to? All right. Well, as Matt said, my name is Corin Thompson. I'm with Keller Williams here in Eugene, Springfield. And I've actually lived in Oregon my entire life. As I mentioned earlier, I graduated from Central High School, which is in Monmouth, Independence, just west of Salem, if you're not familiar with the area. Moved down to Eugene back in 1988, come down to U of O, and I just fell in love with it and stayed here for, well, the rest of the last, oh God, please don't tell me, 23 years. So I'm definitely familiar with the area and got into real estate because I've always had a personal passion for it, loved it. I believe in what I'm trying to help people achieve. And I feel like I have confidence in myself. For me, the real estate sells itself or buys itself, however you want to look at it. So really our job is just to be as confident as we can. And show that and demonstrate that to your client. If you take nothing else away from this, you are the professional to your client or to the people you may meet until you prove them otherwise. So don't, unless they ask you how long you've been in the business, how long you've been doing this, what's your experience, you don't have to offer that up. It's really irrelevant. With KW, we provide so many training opportunities and great assets that you guys can touch base with. Me, Matt, Mara, or other people in the training department that you guys have connections with. So don't be afraid to act like the professional that they think you are. And it's okay to say you don't know. Just say, I'll find that out. I'm not really sure. So just be a professional. And here we go. So yeah, basically what we're trying to find out in this class is learn techniques for qualifying homes you find online, develop your showing skills, and practice powerful scripts that will help your buyers in the decision-making process. So it sounds like most of you or some of you have shown houses, that kind of stuff. I guess I can just go in, kind of go through this. Let's see here. Have you guys been doing the action reveal, the calling people or that type of thing in your Ignite classes?
We haven't even done it once.
Have you ever done that?
We have not.
Can you tell us about it?
I think we did it the last Ignite one time, but not this one.
So basically what it is kind of the whole point of this Ignite class is for you guys to make sure that you're making contacts with people. So your 10-4, you guys all familiar with that, or some of you familiar with that? So it's, just the 4 things that you're supposed to do every day. And it's a great way to build your portfolio, build your network. And at some point today, we'll have you do some of that. Basically, we're just gonna meet ourselves and you guys can call and or text people. In this case, we are trying to focus on vendors or people in the community that you guys should be in contact with. So I think, Kim, you had mentioned that you were touching base with some vendors in the area. That's a great opportunity. You don't just need buyers and sellers. You need people that you can refer people to for things. So in your experience, when you were touching base with those vendors, how did you come about those guys and how did you contact them?
Well, I've lost 2 close family members in the last couple years, and I was a trustee on both of those estate. One was a very, very big one. It just closed actually the beginning of this year, and then one was for my mom. And they both had different attorneys, and through working those estate processes, I developed very close relationships with those attorneys. And so I have called both of them, and they're both excited to work with me and refer me out. They get a lot of, obviously people die. And so there's a lot of people that are dealing in estate situations where, okay, we have to sell the home, which sometimes they don't want to, but a lot of times you have to. So I've actually gone through and sold 2 homes during estate processing. And also through that, I have met estate sales companies. I've met home repair people. And I'm accessing, I had developed pretty solid relationships, and they're all really excited for me and willing to work with me.
Excellent.
So
that's great, Kim. And that's a great example of how you can build your business without ever having to, not necessarily as much contacting individuals. As obviously everybody knows people, but you know people that may be business owners, or maybe you go to a hairdresser, or you go to, you have a lawn person that comes over and does your own lawn. Those are all people that can refer business to you. And so part of that, your lead generation or your touches for people, it doesn't have to be people that maybe directly are going to be buying or selling homes. At some point, they may be your client, but referral sources has honestly been, for me, one of my biggest business drivers. I know a lot of mortgage lenders from my history that I've contacted, and 2 or 3 of them have given me multiple referrals. So just because they're not your direct client doesn't mean that you shouldn't be touching base with them.
Well, that's another thing that I did. We don't have a yard service for our yard because my husband and I both like mowing the lawn. In fact, we fight over it. It's kind of funny, but my neighbors around me all have their yards done, and they all use different people. So I've got their contact information because I might need it for a seller or a buyer, buyer in my transactions, but I thought that would be another great way to network with, because they're working for people that are getting ready to maybe sell their home or this or that. So I added that to my database, and I wanted to ask you about this. So I met with a lender on Friday, and she was super excited about working with me. She's been in the business for a long time, and she wanted to do some, what I guess she called it co-branding, where she'll split the cost of advertising, marketing. And so I'm meeting with her tomorrow morning, and we're going to put together a campaign together. And she actually has like 3 or 4 buyers that are, one's an A buyer, 3 are B buyers, and she has 1 that's a C buyer, but she's ready to refer those to me, which is really cool. And all I've been doing is just really reaching out. I did send her a thank you card and told her about who I am and my philosophy. And I was surprised that even being brand new, she was totally excited to work with me. So,
I'm not sure if there's a question there or not, but
so I guess my question was, co-branding, is that something that can really benefit you, or can that actually hurt you?
Well, I mean, depends on who you're co-branding with, I guess, and their reputation in the community. So you want to make sure you know who you're co-branding with.
Right.
That would be really, I think, one of the few downsides. I've co-branded with some mortgage people that I know from the sense of an open house. You have a flyer at an open house that you're handing out, or you're doing door knocking in the area. Oftentimes they'll pick up the entire tab for that type of a situation. If it's a smaller co-branding marketing thing, they usually only do about 20, maybe 25 flyers for each open house. It puts your name and information, the mortgage lender name and information, as well as the whatever property information. And then the one I usually use on the back has payment calculations on guesstimation on rate, amount and kind of does tiers of, I think, about $25,000 increments. So that's another good information for you to have when you're talking.
Right.
There's like, okay, it goes up another 25,000. We're going to offer that. How much is the payment going to go up? So it's a good benefit for you. So to answer your question, co-branding, in my opinion, is a great way to save some money and get out there in front of more people. It's also hopefully keeps you top of mind with that mortgage lender or whoever you're co-branding with. So if they do have a buyer that's not represented, you're one of the first people they call. You know, oftentimes by the time you get to them, they're already pre-approved through that lender.
Right.
That first step is already taken care of for you. You literally can start looking at houses immediately almost with them. So in my opinion, co-branding is great in certain circumstances. So just be, you know, aware that you don't lock yourself into one lender.
Right.
You know, if that's the case you're talking about, other people may co-brand with you as well. But you know, you want to make sure that you have a couple different lenders that you work
Right. Which I do.
with, types of lenders. So, yeah.
I have 3.
They're both perfect. That's great.
3 that I've interviewed, and this gal, she was the first one who actually said, here's how I can help you. How can you help me? And we actually talked about that. The other lenders were, yeah, well, we're here. But I also know that, yes, that's true, but I might need to go through 5 different people to get to her. Or, you know, it's just a little bit different. They're all of them run their businesses differently. This lender is that I'm going to work with. She's been in the business for a long time. She's worked escrow, she's worked insurance side of it, and she's also been on the real estate side of it. And now she's in lending, so she kind of has a really good overview. And she's processed loans and closed loans, so she has a really good understanding of how to get that process, you know, through at a quicker pace. And I just really like her personal touch that she does to her clients, reaches out to them. And that's how I want my business to be. I don't want it to be so big that I'm just a number.
Perfect. No, and that's great. I mean, that sounds like a great person to know. And especially if she's going to hopefully refer something to you, even if she doesn't, though, it sounds like a great resource for you to, you know, pick a brain and certainly use. And I don't know if you guys have been through the lending training yet, but there are multiple types of lenders as far as mortgage lending and just what they're able to do. So just make sure that you know, touch base with multiple lenders and kind of get to know what they're able to do, how creative they can get. The best way to get to know a lender is to try and work a deal with them. So either you refer someone to them or they refer someone to you. Has anybody else had any experience with touching base with vendors or, you know, people in the real estate industry?
I just have the personal experience from my own process of buying a house. And I think I was able to build a solid enough relationship with him to refer him out to my clients.
Excellent. Yeah, I always make sure that I talk to people before I start referring people out, because I mean, it's partially my reputation goes out with that referral. So definitely you want to at least have a phone call with them, maybe a coffee or lunch or something, unless you've known them in the past, because your reputation is stuck to that referral if you're going to refer people. So anybody else?
You're just asking if we've been building a vendor list?
If you just had experience, yeah, talking to a vendor or you know, walking through them, you know, as a potential referral one way or the other.
Oh, I've just been meeting with 2 different lenders that I have now that I'm going to be able to refer. And then I also have a title company that I start working with, but I have an appointment next week to meet with another title company. And then I'm working on a 3rd lender to talk to. I think it's a lender. Or she actually, I think the other one, I'm sorry, it's not a 3rd lender. It was another title company. And then I haven't built any vendors as far as like housing stuff, like a plumber, electrician. I have a handyman, but I've been trying to figure out what his availability is. He hasn't really gotten back to me, so I probably need to touch base with him again. But yeah, it'd be cool to find a plumber and electrician. Do you know where a good spot is to look for those?
You can ask on our group page, but finding anybody that has availability right now in any of those facets are pretty few and far between. So I don't really have a direct way of doing that unless you've had some handiwork done around your house or electricity.
No. I also have got an inspector lined up too. That
Nice.
was the other thing.
One way to do it is also, most of you, I'm assuming, are on Facebook or Instagram, LinkedIn, that kind of stuff. You could just do a blast post and say, who do I know that owns their own business or is looking for referral partners, and just kind of state it as, I'm trying to build my own book of referrals. Let's connect if you're interested. That could be a great way for the people that you already know and may not realize they're in whatever industry. So that's a great way to build that. If you guys have your Ignite binder in front of you, 9, I believe it is scripts for calling personal and professional services industries. If you haven't, you kind of read through that. Those are basically just kind of a guideline of how to start the conversation if you're not very comfortable having that conversation with professionals. This one specifically is geared towards professionals that you have met or that you haven't met. So it's a great start for you to kind of go through that and understand how it is. Does everybody have that in front of them, or would you like me to read it out loud to you guys? Anybody not have it? And I can just read it real quick.
Yeah, I don't have my stuff yet.
Okay, I'll read it just real quick. Obviously, these are scripts. I know they tell you as new agents, you should stick to the script as closely as possible. And I'll just echo that, but with a caveat, if it doesn't feel right, then, and it doesn't feel natural to you, then tweak it a little bit. There are some things in here that I don't do because it doesn't feel natural to me. But I don't want to go against anybody else's training as far as stick to the script. As new agents, you got to start somewhere. So that's just all I've got to say there. So creating referral partnerships with business owners you have done business with. So kind of the, basically anybody you've met or have worked with in the past. Hi, so-and-so, I'm Corin with Keller Williams Realty. I'm in the process of creating a list of preferred businesses and service providers to give to my clients. Since I frequently have clients ask me for a good, whatever industry they're in, landscaper, dentist, that kind of stuff, I only want trusted companies to refer them to. Since I have had excellent service from you, would you and your business be interested in being included? And then assuming they say yes, if they say no, then you can ask why and follow up with that. But if they say yes, great. I'd like to establish these professional referral partnerships to help grow each other's businesses as well. So if I were to refer clients to you, would you be willing to refer your clients that are looking to buy or sell a home to me with the assurance that I will provide them with a high level of customer service that you expect? And again, assuming they say yes, and then you can say, excellent. How about we confirm each other's contact information so that we can get started? How does that feel to everybody? Does that feel kind of natural? Does it sound kind of hokey when I read that? What does it sound like to you guys?
It sounds a little hokey to me. Now, how would you have the same content and do the call like yourself?
I find myself pretty decent at gauging a conversation, from the natural organic sense. I would start it out with obviously introducing myself, who I am, how we were connected. So if it was like my dentist, for instance, I've referred a few people to my dentist over the years. So if you're going to call them up and say, hey, I've been a patient of yours for how many ever years, I've sent a couple people your way. I obviously love your professionalism in taking care of my teeth. I wouldn't start it out that way. I'd just say, hey, how's it going? Or if I'm in an appointment with the dentist, you might at least broach it and say, hey, can we find a time that we can connect and see if we might be a good referral partner for each other? You can even start out as basic as that.
Okay.
And then, obviously once you're in the conversation, especially if you set an appointment, then you could, then they already know what that's going to be like going into it. So that they're already prepared for that conversation. If you call them up, cold call, not cold call, but, hey, this is Corin from Keller Williams. I want your referral business. that's a little aggressive in my opinion. So just kind of start with maybe a sort of a care call, just like, hey, how's it going? Especially right now with COVID, it's a great opportunity for you to check in with people and just say, hey, how things been going for the last year or 6 months if it's a dentist, since we saw each other. That's great. Hopefully things are going well. Your business is still doing well. You're in people's mouths all day long. How's that going with COVID? Is that scary for you, or are you guys finding ways to do that? And then, kind of, hey, I'm starting up my real estate business. I'm looking for referrals. I'm trying to build my referral sources. You popped up as someone that I would, I've referred to people to, and I love your professionalism. So I would respect your referrals coming my way, that they would be good people that you want to refer to me. How about, we look at referring each other's businesses. Do you have anybody that you know? Everybody's a little bit different, and if you've been in sales for years, you kind of have your own spiel a little bit. And you can use the script and kind of work it that way. Rebecca?
Yeah. So I have a question. Have you ever come across a vendor who you're asking if they would partner with you, and they said that, we already have a few people that we're partnering with, and we're not really into that right now? Have you come across that?
I mean, there's, whatever, 1,200 realtors, I think, or something like that, crazy here in Eugene, Springfield.
Yeah, exactly.
It's you're inevitably going to run across that. Yeah, you could say, I respect that you already have some referral business. Hey, how can we, what could I do to potentially differentiate myself from those other realtors that you already have? Here's my background. Here's what, I'd still just love to have an innocent coffee with you, or maybe a little bit further conversation. If potentially down the road I could work into being one of those referral agents that you refer stuff to me. If you've already got your set, and that's great. I don't want to horn in on that or anything like that, but I'd love the opportunity to at least get to know you better. And if down the road we become a referral partner, then that's great. But I like to know people personally, so I just like to get to know people, even if I don't feel like there's business that's going to come directly from it.
Right.
So that way you're not like overly selling it, but you're still, you have your foot in the door, so it's not just closing your face.
Right.
So I would probably go about that.
Okay.
And then the other one is basically switching it so you don't know the person. You're just cold calling this person. You found them in the phone book, someone referred them to you, that kind of stuff. It's effectively the same thing. Rebecca, your question leads right into that. It's basically, I don't know who you are, you don't know who I am. Let's get to know each other. That's effectively what the tweak is. It's the same script. It's just a little tweaked, that you don't know who they are. Let's set up a phone call, or hey, if this is a good time, let's chat about what your services are. Something you may want to ask them too. You have to be a little bit delicate about it. But some people, depending on what their services are, may offer a discount for first-time users or first-time buyers, or whatever you want to call it. So asking that question to them, hey, if I refer somebody to you, will you give them a X discount or any discount? Do you offer that? And that value adds for you to say, hey, I'm going to refer this landscaper to you, mention my name, you get 5% off your first month of service. Or, the hairstylist, hey, you're going to get $10 off your first haircut, or, whatever that may be. If you don't ask that question, they may already provide that discount, but you can spin it that you're providing that discount for them by using your name as a referral. So that's just another way for you guys to lean on that. Does that make sense? Okay. So for the next 15 minutes, I'm going to make you guys do this. I hated it when I went through Ignite, but I'm going to make you do it. I hated it, but I loved it at the same time. I was appreciative of it. So the next 15 minutes, I want you guys to mute yourselves and either call or text. Text is just as good as calling in some cases, especially if you've already got them in your contact list. It could be a personal contact, or it could be a professional contact. So either someone that you're trying to do a referral network with, or you can do personal calls that you're supposed to do anyway. These count towards your 10 contacts that you're trying to get every day anyway. So for the next 15 minutes, we'll come back. What is that, 2:38? I'm doing math correctly. We'll do 2:38. come back and actually let's just make it 2:40. We'll just round it. Come back at 2:40. Text somebody, call somebody, Facebook message somebody. You can use this script if you have it, but just call and introduce yourselves as new agents or that you're trying to build your referral network, whatever you've been doing. So at 2:40, we'll come back and talk about who you've connected and any successes. All right. All right, guys. If you turn your cameras back on, if you're done, if you're still in the middle of a call, go ahead and wrap that up.
Traveling around a little bit, but mostly trying to figure out where to be.
Wow.
Yeah, I had a weird circumstance a few years ago for the house I lived in.
All right, everybody back. Like I said, if you're still on a call, just you can finish it up. That's great. So did anybody do anything in the last 15 minutes, or are you guys just all sitting there with your cameras off?
Pretty much.
Did anybody contact anybody? Any
I
successes?
texted a couple people. Sorry, I didn't interrupt you.
No, that's fine. Did you hear back from anybody, Aisha?
I did. I texted a couple people, guys I know that are like into fixing stuff, that might know of electricians and plumbers. My one friend didn't know of anyone, but he works with the government, so he was going to talk to some building permit people that he works with to see if they had any recommendations. And then I made a call to Cassidy, but she's busy, I think. And then I was trying to set up my contact information. You know how you have that really cool way of sending your information? When I saved you on my phone, you just sent it to me.
Yeah, you set up a contact on your list. Yeah, Matt mentioned it, I think, towards the beginning, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't get how to do it. So I was trying to Google online how to do it so I could like do that to contact.
Yeah, and I can go over that really quick. You basically just make yourself a contact in your own phone.
Oh, okay.
So you would literally put Aisha McDonough in your contacts as an actual contact, and
Okay.
just your professional contact. So if you want them to have your cell phone, if you have a business phone, your business email address, I think you can even put in like your website and all that stuff. You literally just make a contact in your phone, whether
Okay.
a phone or whatever. You just do that, and then when you want to send that to somebody, you go into that contact, and one of the options is share contact, and you share.
Okay.
And one of the options is to text it, and you just text it to whatever number you're trying to connect it to. And it sends your contact information as a contact card. They click on it, and it's basically 2 clicks that adds it as a contact to their phone.
Okay.
So just create your own contact. So just as if you were to put my contact information in your phone, just do it as yourself.
Okay. And then how did you say you texted that to somebody?
You go into your contacts, so your actual phone contacts, click on yours, so in your case, Aisha, click on that. And once you're in it, one of the options is share your contact or share this.
Oh, okay. I'll probably see that once I get it set up.
Yeah, once you have to set it up. So
yeah,
there you go.
Thank you.
And with you can it's just a really easy way. So that way you're not typing it in, mistype your email address, your phone number.
And you don't have to do it a bunch of times.
Yeah, and it makes it for them. They just click on the contact card and it puts it into their phone.
Yeah, I definitely think that, and I need to get my email signature set up too with my inbox. That was the other thing I'm gonna do today. Anyway.
Perfect. Anybody else get a hold of anybody or have any successes? Nope. Did anybody text anybody else or call anybody?
I made a story asking for referrals from my trusted contacts and posted it to Instagram and Facebook. And I get a lot of feedback when I do those. So I will reach out once I find out who trusted people are from my contacts.
Perfect. That's a great way to do it. And yeah, you might not see immediate response, but that's a great way to touch a lot of people very quickly. So great job. If you have Instagram or Facebook, and you have already a following, that's great. If you're on LinkedIn, that's a great way to connect with professionals. So if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, consider making one. LinkedIn is a great resource. I've been in the community for over 20 years. My LinkedIn profiles been there for a long time. And so I have a lot of connections, and it's a great professional resource for me. Facebook and Instagram are a little bit more personal, so it's going to be for clients, but business owners and stuff. So, part of this class, this Ignite class and other PC training classes is to do that, that touches for people. So other trainers may not make you do this, but you should be touching at least 10 people a day anyway. So that was just hopefully an opportunity for you guys to try and do that. So Excellent. Well, I'm glad a couple of you guys tried to do that. So let's actually get into, the find and show homes. If you're following along, page 11, get your head in the game, the journey. There are some statistics on that page. One of them that stands out to me, it says 92% of buyers use the internet in their home search process. It's probably more like 94, 96% these days. This came out, I think, in 2014. So when you're searching, or when you're talking to a buyer and you're helping them find a home, I tell them straight up, use your resources. I am just one of your resources. I'm not afraid of them using any internet search site, any of the Zillow's, Redfins, Realtor.com, whatever's out there. I tell them that's just, honestly, it's obviously an important part, but it's just a small part of the process is finding the homes. And I'm not in their head. I don't know specifically what they need or that they want. I have a conversation with them, of course, but after half an hour talking to my buyers, I don't know specifically what they want or what they need. So I tell them, use the resources you have. I will send you properties that I think meet your criterias, but you can help me find you the house, and then we can get in there, and that's when my job really starts, is once we go see the house, the negotiations and that kind of thing. So I'm not afraid to tell my buyers that use the resources they have to find it. Sometimes they find it before mine, or it doesn't show up on my criteria search in MLS. So that's something that, has anybody told their buyers to go look at the internet? Are you afraid to tell them that? No? Okay. Don't be afraid to do that. Yeah, definitely use the resources they have. Let's see here. April, are you trying to say something, or are you just unmuted? Let's see here. So some of the other statistics, it says more than 50% of buyers reported finding the right home was the most difficult step in the home buying process. Does that surprise anybody? Okay. If you feedback a little bit, it does. I said the stat was more than 50% of buyers reported finding the right home was the most difficult step in the home buying process.
You said that it's the most difficult is looking for a home?
Yeah, they just finding a home is the
Yeah,
most.
I definitely would agree with that. I just started going into homes to look at them, and they smelled like cat pee, and they were at an angle, and they were like going for $400,000.
Right,
I would never
right.
buy that.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different things that obviously go into finding the house. As I mentioned before, you're not inside your buyer's head. So the more information, the more houses you can show them, the better. Well, show them online and then cut down the criteria. That's part of it, is you don't want to go see every single house that meets their criteria. You could do a lot of cutting down when you do searches.
You feel all buyers have their expectations are too high?
You're saying buyers have their expectations are too high?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's part of your consult with the buyers, is asking them what they're expecting out of a house. All the criteria, bedrooms, bathrooms, obviously being standard. As someone mentioned, I think at the beginning, they wanted a shed, so they needed acreage, or at least enough to have a shed on or shop on it. Find out what all that information is, and then do the search, or know your market, rather. If you know your market, then you don't, then you could tell them, well, all your criteria doesn't match up with what you're approved for.
Yeah.
You know, that's an important start to the conversation with your buyers, so you guys are all looking at the same thing.
Because I feel like they'll be disappointed when they get out there and don't get that perfect kitchen.
Yeah, well, and sometimes the pictures are going to show them that. That's why it's important to look through it and make sure that you are looking at houses that are appropriate. You know, in today's market, being a seller's market, as you guys are either know or finding out, You know, some houses are going way above asking price.
Right.
So to decipher what they're approved for and what they're qualified for, and what you feel that house may go for, sometimes it's not even worth showing them because it may be listed within their price range, but oftentimes it's going to go above their price range.
Right. Right.
In a different market, when it becomes a buyer's market down the road, if and when that happens, you know, you have to change your mindset and how you direct your buyers in that case, because you may start looking above
right
their thing, you know, if they're able to negotiate down. That's part of your job as the buyer's agent, is to kind of decipher where they're looking, what the market's looking like in that, and only show them properties that you feel like they would be able to afford. The last thing you want to do is show a client a house that they love. Kitchen, it's the perfect kitchen, but it's 20,000 more than they can afford.
Right.
Now you're going to look like not a professional if you're starting to show them houses that they can afford.
So you're saying that if I look at enough houses, I will find them the house so they won't be disappointed. That's the problem.
No, you don't. Well, so you want to make sure that you're doing the search on your MLS
to
meet their criteria, assuming that you've already had that initial conversation with them to know what their criteria is. You want to have like a top 5 of like they must-haves.
Okay. Oh, so what? Oh, I'm sorry. I now I remember what the theory is. The theory is you get them the top 3, and then they have to be happy.
Well, I mean, if they're not happy, you need to just dig in and find out why if that house meets their top 3, why they're not happy.
Right. Okay.
Because if you have a top 3 must-have criteria, and the house that you're showing them meets that, and they say, no, I'm not interested in writing an offer.
Then you got to dig deeper. Okay.
Yeah, you need to ask them, okay, well, you told me these 3 things are must-haves. This house has it. So what is it about this house that you don't want to write an offer on? What makes it not good for you? And that's part of, like I said, as you show them that house or show them it online, they're gonna give you clues on what they prefer,
right,
and what they actually know or what they want, and it gives you the opportunity to learn what they want, because they only tell you a little bit, you know, and as you go, their needs may change. They may see, you know, those houses with the perfect kitchen, but none of them are coming with any other things that they want.
And then they decided that then they like the yard. And as I just have to pick up on that the yard ends up being more important than the kitchen. Okay.
Yeah, I've had clients where I've shown a house where, like, for me, I was like, this does not really meet your criteria. It's within your range, but you know, there's 2 of the 3 that are must-haves that you wanted to go see it. So let's go see it. And they fell in love with it, and we made an offer on it. So don't ever assume that it's not the right house for your client, because it may be that their needs have changed. Maybe they've adjusted what they felt was the perfect house for them. You know, so, and in today's market, you do get a lot of buyers that are getting buyer fatigue from writing multiple offers on the quote unquote perfect house and getting beat out on. And so you do see some people settling for or adjusting what their needs are, based upon what they're able to do. Maybe they're looking now in a lower price range so they can afford to go, you know, well over asking price to potentially win that deal. So really showing people houses is a fluid process, in my opinion. Especially in today's market, where you're going to show them most likely multiple houses and potentially be rejected multiple times. Their needs may change. So just because last week they wanted X, Y, and Z, this week X might be off the table and just Y and Z are the most important to them. So it's important for you guys to have that conversation with your buyer, you know, really after almost every time you guys show, you know, if you go show them multiple houses in a day, what I usually do is after they see a house, I have them rate. I know Matt said 1 to 7 or something.
Yeah.
I have them rated on a 1 to 10, and I tell them 1 is why the heck did we even show up to this house? This is a perfect house, which really doesn't exist. So throw those out the window. It's really a 2 to 8 scale.
There we go. Okay.
Rated on a 2 to 8 scale. And if it's a 7 or above, let's chat about making an offer on this house, because, or why is it a 7 versus an 8? And that is a great way for them to gauge each house individually, but also collectively. So you see 4 houses and you rate, 1 a 6, 1 a 7, and 2 8s. They can go, okay, this one's different than this one because of this. It just gives them a standard rating system.
So there's a whole thought process that the buyer has to go through.
It makes them think about it in similar terms, because each house is different for various reasons, but to them, they have to be able to rate it so they can remember that first house that they saw maybe last week, that they lost out on. Maybe that was an 8 or a 9 for them, and they see another house the next week, they rated an 8, but they're 2 totally different houses, so that it just helps them hone in on rating each house, and being able to compare which ones they actually want to write an offer on.
Okay, that's a lot of insight there. Thank you. Thank you for all that.
Corin, I had a question regarding that specifically, is because like my husband and I have been looking for a house for ourselves, and he would rate one like higher or lower than I would. And so having that conversation out loud kind of helped us kind of zone in of what we did and didn't really like about homes.
Yeah, Rebecca, that's a great point, because a lot of times you're going to be dealing with more than one person that is buying a house. And so that rating system kind of helps them come to the same page. If one's rating it a 4, the other one's rating it an 8, now you have to have them have a conversation about what is your priority. You need to come to some form of agreement so you can at least get to a 7 on a house, if they're really that different on what they're looking for. Because it is sometimes you do have spouses or people that are in completely different mindset on what they really like. So that's another reason it's important to have both or all decision makers on the phone call initially when you're having that buyer consult. But when you go see the property, it's really important to go show all properties or all people involved, and anybody that may influence their decision. Sometimes they're really leaning heavily on, dad that bought the house, 15 years ago, or, mother-in-law has to have some kind of input. You want to be aware of their needs, but also help that person that's going to be influencing, good or bad, help make sure you're understanding where they're coming from as well. Because if there's a third party that's going to be influencing them and they're way off, that's going to really slow you down as far as getting them to make an offer, because that person can talk them out of making an offer. So yeah, very important to have everybody involved in making a decision. Go see the house. If they say no, so-and-so's got to work until 5, so I'll just go see the house. And then we could, we'll get him or them involved later on. Sometimes that works because sometimes it's really just one person making that decision, even though there's 2 people involved. You can kind of tell early on whether or not one person's going to be like, I'm making the call. I don't care what the other person thinks. I'm going to we're going to make an offer when I say we're going to make an offer. There are relationships that work that way. So each buyer situation is going to be a little bit different. Just make sure whoever's going to be making the decision is there to show the house. Otherwise, you're going to have to go show it a second time and waste your time.
My neighbors had the challenge of that there's an in-law that's going to put the down payment down. So they made the offer, got accepted, but then the in-law comes to see the house and changes their mind.
Right, exactly. So, and you may not, that might blindside you. Maybe you didn't know that in-law was going to come in and have that input. So you can always ask up front too. They may not think about it until it happens, but at least ask the question up front when you're having that buyer's consult. So when you, does anybody have not a drip campaign, but you go into your MLS and you can automatically send houses out. Does anybody have that set up or know what that is? So on MLS, and every MLS has it, whether you're in WV MLS or RMLS or any other ones, they have an ability to set in criteria and then you automatically email it to either your client or yourself. Some people prefer to do that. Some people meaning either agents or buyers. So you can ask them if you prefer to do that. That way you don't have to manually go in and look at their criteria every day and email it out. You do want to be a little cautious with that. Some buyers don't like it. They think you're being lazy and just sending them emails and not really doing your job. So ask them up front if they're okay with that. Also, some buyers may not be loyal to you. So you want to make sure you're making sure that they're loyal before you start sending them automatic emails, because they're going to look at that property and go, ooh, I like this property, but I don't really like Corin, but he's sending me all these emails. I'm going to go call Barton over here, and Barton's going to go show me these houses, and then he gets the sale. So they're using your services other than the fact that they're not going to pay you, right? So just be careful of that, right? You like that situation, don't you, Barton?
I do. Sorry, buddy.
I have a client that was straight up honest with me. At least he said, I know another agent and he's sending me properties too. And I said, well, okay, so why are you not committing to one agent? What is your problem? Or not your problem, but why are you afraid of committing to one agent? And he said, well, I'm not sure that you're going to be working the hardest for me. I have many agents working for me. Then I find all the properties, and then I just go with, basically, he told me he goes with the one that was the last one to send him a property. And I told him, I said, well, I appreciate your point of view, but I don't know that we're the best fit for each other, because I like to work with people that are loyal, and I'll be loyal to you, and I'll put in my best effort. But if you're gonna potentially not use me, then I'm sorry, but we can't work together. It's brutal sometimes, but you got to be honest, because they're literally telling you they're going to waste your time, right? And unfortunately that happens. And so even as newer agents, that makes it even more challenging, because you're like, I have to have business. I don't care if it's maybe a 50-50 shot because they're going with another agent. Your time is important. If they're telling you straight up they may not use you, then it's time to kind of say, all right, let's go our separate ways. Good luck to the other agents that you're working with. Because most likely you're probably not going to get that deal anyway, and you're going to put in a lot of effort to try and win that deal. And at the end of the day, you wasted a lot of time and may not get paid for it. It is tough as a new agent to internally have that conversation and be confident enough to tell a buyer or seller, I'm sorry, we're not fit to work together. You try and do it as.
They're essentially saying that they don't respect your time enough to commit.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're not really, they may be doing it diplomatically, but they're effectively telling you, yeah, we don't care about your time, and you're not professional to us. So just be aware of that. That does happen. So yeah, the qualify. Yeah, so the automatic emails, just make sure you're talking to people that they're okay with it. I oftentimes set up an automatic search, but I have it send it to me rather than my client, so I don't have to go necessarily in every time. But I just put in the subject line whatever my client's name is, whether that's Cal Lowell, looking for property in Veneta, or whatever. Rebecca Flick looking for property in Santa Clara area. That way, when it comes to me, I can go, oh yeah, this looks like it fits their criteria. Now I'm going to send a separate email directly to my client that says, hey, this property just popped up. This is great. Take a look. If you're interested, let's talk about it and maybe set up an appointment to go see it. So that way it shows that you're doing the searching, but you don't automatically send them the property. Another thing with that, a lot of listing agents tweak the information on the listing every day. So it pops up in your automatic search every single day. So your client, if you send it to them directly, will be getting that same property every single time they update that. And they get a little sick of that. So you as the buyer's agent can kind of weed those out and be like, I've seen this 5 times. I'm not going to send it to my client again. So those are things that you'd have to be aware of when you're doing those automatic searches in MLS. So we talked about the must-haves, whether that be 3, 5, whatever. Usually it's about 5. If they only come up with 3, then you don't force them to have 5 on those must-haves, but those are criteria you're going to put into your searches because those are must-haves. Everything else is kind of, we can deal with it type of thing. So that's kind of how, like I said, they search online, I search online using MLS in the criteria that they want. When you find a house that they want to go see, has anybody shown a house here? Actually physically gone and shown a client a house? Jared, you have? How was your experience on that?
I've shown a bunch of homes. It's been great.
Good. So you just show up and open the door and let them walk through, or do you kind of have a way of doing things?
So I know quite a bit about homes, and I've kind of made it my thing to know a lot about the different aspects of homes. And I was lucky enough to be in painting for quite a few years and got into really new construction, painting new construction, and learned kind of a lot of the ins and outs of it, as well as I just did tons of remodeling over the years on my own home. So everything from putting in my own hot tub, understanding, and then got a good understanding of septic systems and stuff like that. So I kind of let them do their own thing when they walk through, and I try not to form any opinion either way. And I always kind of pick out stuff that, especially when I'm talking to listing agents right now, who I'm mostly speaking with, I pick out the things that I like about the property, and I don't focus on the negative things. If I see something about it that's negative, I don't necessarily bring that out so much, but I'm pretty straightforward. If I do see something that seems kind of weird, I just bring it up right away. If we walk in and I know my client's looking for a place that's got either nice floors, I'll kind of say, oh, okay, the carpet here is going to need to be replaced. This is because it's old, just kind of bring up things that are going to be monetarily, things that are going to have to be taken care of. And if they don't notice that the siding's vinyl for some reason, I kind of make a note of whatever, I'll say, hey, that's vinyl siding if you didn't notice or whatever, and just different things. Or this floor here is laminate flooring, or it's engineered, or it's, or it's vinyl, or this is hardwood floor that's really nice. I kind of try to just talk about the home in a way that they get a grasp of what they're looking at.
Okay, that's great. And it sounds like you had the background to knowledgeably say that. Obviously, I think a lot of us may not have that background, so you just have to be really careful to try and point some stuff out like that, unless you know for sure what you're pointing out. I would also say that from a either structure or like a high dollar amount, I think that's kind of what you touched on. If you're going to call things out that are wrong, make sure that you know that those are maybe a little bit higher dollar amount, not cosmetic stuff, because they'll find the more cosmetic stuff that they may not like. Maybe they don't like the color of the carpet, or they, something like that. The landscaping is maybe not how they would do it. You want to be careful that you're not pointing out some negativity that maybe they think is a positive. And I'm not saying that that's what you were doing, Jared. I'm just saying in general, when you're showing a house, you want to let them discover the house and be there as a resource to tell them, yeah, that flooring is really good. It's going to, it looks new. It's going to last forever, or last for a really long time, that kind of stuff.
I guess that's the point I was trying to get across, is that I don't try to, point out negatives. I let them make their own judgment on it, essentially.
Perfect. Yeah, no, that's great. Before you go show the house, we talked about searching for them and finding them the house. When they do find a house that they want to go see, or multiple houses, you want to try and make the best use of yours and their time. So if there's multiple houses that they want to go see, you want to try and schedule those as close to each other as you can, and still be able to go see those. So if they have 3 houses, schedule them back to back with maybe a half an hour grace in between. That way you are not showing them one house and then 2 hours later showing them another house, and then the next day showing them another house if you already know all of that.
Yeah.
So just be aware of your showing time frame and stuff.
I feel like that's pretty common sense too, like scheduling like that, honestly. But yeah, I could see how a new agent would maybe have trouble with that. Like I showed 4 houses today and got a hold of everybody yesterday and basically just built the show anytime around the one that was a for sure time, and just scheduled around that. And then we were actually able to fit in a couple along the way and in between and after. And in the area too, I mapped it out so that I'm not, taking them over here, then going back over here or whatever. So.
Yeah, Jared, that's great. Yeah, and that's something else you touched on too. When you're out at a house, you have the resources to find other houses that potentially maybe didn't pop on their radar that you can look at and see what it's listed for. If it's vacant, you probably be able to pop in between if you're a little bit early on one showing, if it meets their criteria. It helps demonstrate that you're paying attention to the market area as well, and notice that, hey, this house might meet some of your criteria. We have an extra time. Let's go over here and take a look at this. Kind of shows that you're paying attention to the area. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought. I apologize. So when you go and show homes, when you're walking through, Jared mentioned, kind of pointing some stuff out or being prepared to answer their questions. You want to walk through with them, depending on your relationship with the buyer. You want to give them space and let them walk through, kind of feel the house, let them discuss things between each other if there's multiple people. Some of the etiquette, if it is occupied house, you want to put your card on the counter. So that way the seller knows who showed up in case there's any issues. You forget to lock the house or kid ran through and went to the bathroom and forgot to flush or something like that. They know who to contact with that. Unfortunately, sometimes that does happen. But in general etiquette, I think, I can't remember who asked the question at the beginning, but they talked about COVID restrictions. That looks like that might be popping back up. Jared, make sure you ask for a referral. So, sorry, Jared has to leave. I direct messaged me. Anyway, totally just lost my train of thought. I apologize. Where was I? Anybody listening?
COVID restriction.
I saw COVID. There you go. I saw Daisy was paying attention. So COVID protocol is, the last year we kind of, all the agents last year, put it in the listing on MLS. You always want to make sure you look at private remarks on the listing, because that'll usually tell you what the homeowner wants as far as COVID or even just showing. So always check there for COVID restrictions. Even now when they're not officially locked down, some people are still mindful of COVID. And so they want you to show the house with either booties or gloves or use wipes to wipe down all surfaces. So you want to respect them because the seller it's their house. It's their right to ask for whatever little or major request. And if your buyer's not willing to abide by those, you need to be careful showing them that house, whether that is, like I said, wearing a mask throughout or wiping it down. If it's on the listing as a requirement, you need to make sure that you and your client are abiding by those, because you kind of have to assume nowadays that most houses have cameras. And so you just want to make sure that you're always on camera when you're walking through the house. And just abide by those rules from a COVID restriction standpoint. Did the person that asked that have a specific question on?
That was me. You answered it. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So it's also respecting other people's property when you're going through it. Realize somebody does live there, and make sure that your buyer's not touching a bunch of stuff. And make sure you lock the doors on your way out, and double check, make sure your client leaves the house and then go back in and make sure all the doors are locked and everything. That
Can I
does.
ask another question? Do you follow them around or do you let them explore themselves?
It depends on the situation. If I know them fairly well, I'll probably follow them around and you know, be right there and just kind of engage in conversation. If I don't know them well, I'll make sure that they're not touching things or, you know, doing things that they're not supposed to. But sometimes I give them a little bit more space within earshot. But I'll
Yeah, that's
let them
the question.
explore
Yeah.
things. Yeah, just let them explore things because sometimes they're not as comfortable having that conversation in front of you. They want to kind of have their private conversation to talk about what they like or dislike about the house. So it really just depends on the particular client that I'm walking through and my relationship with them.
I also kind of wanted to know, do you use an iPad?
Do I?
Yeah, what do you, or you just don't worry about that? You just go ahead and show them the properties.
Some people print out stuff. If you like to print stuff out, you certainly can. The MLS sheet, which has all the information. If you've emailed it to them already, then they probably already saw all the data from the house online. I usually just bring my phone and have it up on MLS on my phone. So if they have specific questions about anything, I have it on my phone. But if you prefer paper, you can certainly print it out, or an iPad. It's easier to read. If you have that technology, it's certainly there for you if you have one or are willing to pay the money for it.
Okay, thank you.
It's not
I got a
required.
question about showing. I got a question about showing people on your phone. Are you using the HomeSnap? Is that the RMLS app? I can't quite figure out the RMLS app, which one it is.
RMLS app is not very good. They just haven't updated it. It's not a very good app for what it is. I usually go on the actual website, MLS website. If you're on home.
Okay, so you use like the desktop
resource
version
for
on
you.
your phone?
Say again, sorry.
You use a desktop version on your phone?
Yeah, I just go to Safari or whatever phone you have and just use
Okay.
that. Because one, I'm more familiar with how it searches, and two, it actually searches. The app doesn't work very well.
Okay, what is the app even called?
There is just an RMLS app if you're in the
Oh,
area. I'm
okay.
not sure about WVMLS. For those that are in a different market, they may have an app for that. Some of the smaller ones don't even have an app, but the RMLS one is not very good. It would be better to use either HomeSnap or go into your KW app, or you can secretly use Zillow or
So what's that other one, like RPS or RPR or
Yeah, that one is just the information shown to you from the listing. It tells you the data, but that is an option as well.
Okay.
Using it is free from a buyer side, but I think you have to pay for it from the seller side to have that information in there. I could be wrong on that one, sorry. I just have the information on my phone so I can answer the questions. Most of the time I've already looked at the data, so I have it mostly mentally there, and I can just go over it as we walk through the house to confirm that it truly is a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath house, and not just a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house. Sometimes they're mislabeled, so prepared for that. Sorry. Any other questions on anything?
Do you call the agents ever before showing the house?
Perfect. I always do. Yeah, even if it's vacant, I'll shoot him
Oh, that's right. You have to go through the agent in order to set up the appointment, right?
Yeah, or showing time. There's showing time on the MLS, at least with the RMLS. So I will call the agent before I go show it to make sure there's no offers already. That's an important step to make sure that you call the agent and the listing agent and ask them what kind of interest it is, how many showings they've had, if they have any offers in hand. So they may not have just updated it to pending. So you don't want to waste your time going out there and showing a house that's technically already pending. It just hasn't been updated yet. So just a quick text or a phone call, depending on what it says in the listing, to call them to make sure that it's still active. And if it's towards the top of your client's range and the listing agent says they already have 5 5 offers in it, you may try and somehow convince your buyer they don't need to go see it. Because if they already have 5 offers in it, most likely 1 or more of those are over their range if it's towards the top of the range. So when you're looking at it, the MLS has, excuse me, listing instructions, and it will tell you whether or not it's vacant, or if you need to contact the seller directly, or if you need to go through the listing agent to schedule an appointment or showing time. So that's how you can go through and schedule those multiple houses.
So you can trust the showing time.
If they say to use it, then yes.
Okay.
What do you mean by trust?
I mean, if you get there and they don't let you in or something.
Oh, well, most of the time there's a lockbox on the front of the house.
Yeah. But if the people are there, sometimes they could say no, but okay, as long as you can, as long as there's, I've never heard of showing time before. Okay.
Showing time is through RMLS, and actually bought out by Zillow. So you want to be careful putting your,
okay.
But it is something that on a popular house, people use, listing agents use that to schedule showings because they know they're going to have showings. And so it's a way for them to schedule it without having to get individual texts from all the agents.
That's, yeah. And this, especially in this market.
Yeah, and exactly.
It's good in this market. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've used it from buyer side. I've never used it as a seller side. I'm a little bit more hands-on from a seller's agent standpoint. I want to know who's going in and when, but it's a benefit, especially if you have multiple listings to use it. From a buyer side, like I said, you just go to the MLS and look at the instructions of where to look, and or where, if it's a lockbox, or some people do a combo box, depending on where it's at.
Now, would they be, if they have cameras in the house, they would know if I were gonna go to see it by myself now, but you could be an agent going to see it by yourself. So it's okay during those times to go see properties or not?
Yeah, if it's a vacant house and it says on the listing, show as vacant, as an agent, whether you have a client or not.
Yeah, I figured vacant, but a regular house, maybe not.
You would want to be upfront with the listing agent.
Okay.
And just say, hey, I'm in the neighborhood, or I'm going to be in the neighborhood. I have some other clients that, that are looking at this type of a property, or you can be even more upfront and just say, I'm trying to just know my market and I just want to go see it. Your house looks intriguing, has a lot of features that I think a lot of buyers might want. I want to go see your house. I don't have a specific buyer that I'm going to be bringing, but I want to go see your house and take a look at it. Those are options to do. If it is occupied, you just want to look in the MLS and see, sometimes they have, give an hour notice. Sometimes it's 4 hours. Sometimes it's 24 hours notice. So you just want to make sure that you're abiding by what that says.
But if they have showing times, then you don't have to sign up for an appointment? I thought that's what that was saying. Showing
time is a link within MLS that you basically put in there. They have it blocked off.
So you still have to call and make an appointment?
It's through the website. Let me see if
You make the appointment on showing time. It
populates.
populates.
Let me see if I can.
Oh, okay. I got it. The rest of you probably already know about that, so it's okay. We can skip that. I'll figure it out.
Corin, there's been a time recently when I went to look at a house with a buyer and it said use showing time, and I click on the showing time, and then it doesn't pull up the schedule or anything. So in that situation, I just texted the selling agent and asked what was a good time for us to go look at it.
Yeah, if it says use showing time and it doesn't have anything blocked out or it's not working, then yeah, just call or text the listing agent, and they'll either say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't get that set up, or whatever the case may be, they'll work with you to get that set up. So showing time is just a link within MLS, basically.
Hey, Jackie, just so you know, I had no idea what showing time was either. This is the first I've heard about it, so you're not alone.
Thank you, Daisy. Thank you.
I'm like in the dark about that as well, but that's cool. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see here. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. Can you guys see my screen for those that aren't driving? Can you guys see that?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
So this is MLS. I'm just in a property right now. I just happen to be in this one. So this little graphic right here, if you see where I'm hovering over, if you click, it opens up a separate web page, and then you can go down here, schedule signal showing. So this one is not actually a showing time. Oh, here.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
So it pops up all this stuff, and if they're actually using it, you'll probably see other people scheduled. But you literally just click, you know, I want this one, and you put in there whatever information if you want to. But you usually just use your information. But you want to so this would be Tuesday, August 10th at 8:45 a.m. I would say you don't have to put in a buyer's name, just your information, and then you do request appointment, and it sends it to this page, and then boom, you're scheduled to show the house.
Do you have to wait for them to reply back to you to confirm it, or is that just like kind of
No,
automatic?
If the listing agent's going to put on there, they're going to block out any times that are not accepted. If they're using, that's how the showing time works. Is they usually block out the time frame that is able. So you just go in there and do that. So from a listing agent standpoint, it is really nice because you don't have to necessarily field 50 different texts and keep track of who's going to go look at the property at 3:30 and then you schedule another one at 3:35 or whatever. Now you're doubling up and you get buyer's agents upset at you because you're showing too many people, especially during COVID times. Does that help those that have never heard of showing time?
Does help. Yeah.
Down here in Eugene, people do use it, but it's not as prevalent as some of the bigger cities. I know Portland uses it probably a lot more down here, but I have seen some properties that use it.
Since you are sharing your screen, would it be too much to ask to have you show me how to share this with a client? Because
This with a client?
yeah, because like earlier when you were talking about sharing, you know, and having like a search that you could repeat or whatever, but that it would show the same one 5 times.
Yeah,
It
so you
just
see
kinda
this
lost me there.
prospecting
Yeah.
up here? That's how you set up a prospecting email is what I was talking about, the automatic emails that go out to clients. That's how you set that up. So we can go in here, I have a few set up.
So you just add a new one basically.
So yeah, you come up here and just add new prospecting profile.
Okay.
And then this is where you put in the criteria. So you always have to have an MLS area.
Okay. So you just type in the criteria. You don't actually find the house and then send it to them.
Well, this is the start. If you're going to do a prospecting one, if you're actually just going
Okay.
to for a house and send it to them, you would either, if you know the property address, you would just put it in. You want me to
Okay.
show the prospecting one?
Well, how can you just can you like go back to that last screen where you showed the house and then like how would you mean you put the address in that box that you were just at? I'm confused on that.
So right here, when I'm searching for a specific property, I would go to the home.
Right.
And then it has, if you know the MLS number, you can put it in there, or if you have an address, you can put it in there. So this is the one that we were looking at before.
Yeah.
So and then push the search button. And then it'll tell you, so this was sold a while back. So this is a different listing down here. You want to go with the active one, the most recent one, which is right here. You just click on the MLS number and it goes into your listing. And then it has your pictures and all that stuff you can look at, right? It tells you over here, occupied by owner, show as appointment only, see remarks, text seller's agent. So that's where you're going to look and see whether or not there's any, if it's vacant or anything like that. Okay.
But then how do you send this house to a client by the address that you were talking about? Like where do you
Select
plug in the
report.
address?
You always want to send them
Oh.
the client full. And it'll pop up. It looks like it's the same thing, but it says client full right here. You want to make sure that you set up your own profile in there, your pictures and information and whatnot. Because once you have that, when you go to send it to them, it has your information on there, your picture and your information. So this is the client version. So if you notice in the previous version, there was private comments. So these private remarks right here, those go away when you select the client report. So that's why it's important to do the client and not the agent full. Because if you do an agent full, then it gives you all these private marks that the clients are not supposed to see. Okay? And then you go in the client full. And then you go all the way down here at the bottom. And if you don't already have a prospecting file or client set up, if you do, you can just click this and click on whoever you want to send it to with the defaulted email address, or you manually type in an email address. You can change the subject. You can put in whatever message you want. And then if you want the report. So I'm going to send that to myself. It just emailed it to me.
And then when you were talking about to make sure that your picture, you're talking about like your profile picture is set up so that it's.
Yeah, in RMLS, you put it in there, or MLS.
Okay, is there like a settings place? I didn't see that. I haven't.
Yeah, it's within MLS. There's a settings. So this is what the email looks like. I'll show this and then I'll go back in there and I can show that to you if you guys, if anybody else needs that. But so it sends a link and you just click on view report. And this is what it looks like. So this is my picture, my information, all my other contact information, as well as the KW Eugene Springfield Realty graphic. Right, you guys can all see that. And then below it says, I'm the one that sent it to him. And then in this case, it's just one property. But if you want to send multiple, you just click multiple ones, client, and you can send 3 or 4 or 5 or how many ever you want to send to them. They're all in one link. So you see it scrolling down, there would be more properties down below here. And they can see the pictures from here. You can scroll through, see all the different pictures. As well as if you go back to this email and reply, it replies directly to me. So if they want to reply to me, they just reply and say, I like this property. Let's go look at the Junction City property you just sent me. And then you just schedule a showing by going back to showing 10. That makes sense?
Yep. Thanks for doing a demonstration.
That's another one I'm doing.
So Corin, I do have another question, a little off topic, but you were talking about lock boxes a little bit ago, and I haven't got any listings yet. I assume like I would go to CenturyKey and buy a lock box from them. Is that how that works, or how do I get a lock box?
It's through your MLS. So whatever MLS you're in, right
Okay.
down here in Eugene.
Springfield for me.
Yeah, so it's Eugene Springfield, it's Lane County. But RMLS, they do have an office here locally. You'll have to double check and see if it's open. With COVID, they were closed for a while. So the closest one is up in Portland.
Okay.
And so they were offering free overnight or free shipping to you. But you would buy that through them. If you go into RMLS, there's an office number you can call and order how many ever lock boxes you want.
Okay.
As far as I know, I don't think there's a discount for buying multiple ones. They're roughly $90 to $100. It might be slightly more than that.
Okay.
So if they're overnighting them or they have one locally, you can usually get one the same day or the next day if they're overnighting them, obviously, if you need
Oh, okay. So you don't have to plan too far ahead of time.
Yeah, and I mean, they do cost money. So, I mean, unless you're knowing a listing is coming up, you don't necessarily have to buy them. And if you're in a pinch, sometimes you can find a local agent to let you borrow one until you get your own.
Okay.
But you don't want to lean on that too much. But as new agents, sometimes you have to, because surprise, you're listing a house tomorrow and you don't have any lock boxes. So.
And Bart, I just did my RMLS orientation this morning, and they said that free shipping expires the 1st of September.
There you go. Hopefully that means that they're opening the local office, but I'm sure they're probably running out of money from free shipping for the last year and a half. So if you want a lockbox and you have an extra $100, order one. Those are area specific, just to give you guys a heads up. So if you get one specific for Lane County, and an agent is out of Lane County area, they will not be able to access your lockbox unless they are part of your MLS.
Oh, okay.
So know that too, especially here in Eugene, Springfield. Harrisburg is technically not in Lane County. A lot of them will put RMLS boxes on there or a combination box. because they have a lot of RMLS agents going to look at the houses. But you always want to look in the private remarks. Let's go back here. It'll tell you what type of lockbox it is. So lockbox, if it doesn't say, it's whatever the MLS it's in. This one being in Junction City, it's clearly in Lane County, so they don't have another lockbox. I can look up a Harrisburg one and see if it says anything. Anyway, you always want to double check, because if you go up to Harrisburg and it's a WV MLS versus an RMLS, you won't be able to access it. Or let's say Brownsville or something like that. Just be aware that you won't be able to access that unless there's a combo code there. So always ask the listing agent what type of box it is if you don't see it on the listing.
Just let you know, they did say that the lockbox is $170.
Oh, okay, I don't remember it being that much, but maybe it's gone up since I last bought one. So, is there anything else you guys want to see on RMLS since I have it up, or I had it up, I guess. Okay.
I was going to ask a question about open houses. Taking clients to open houses, what's the kind of, good practices and kind of protocols and that sort of thing?
So you're saying taking your client to someone else's open house?
Right.
Yeah. I make best efforts to take my client to open houses and go with them, especially if I don't know them very well or not really confident that they are going to be using me. Because that agent that's hosting the open house will try and steal your client potentially if they ask them if they trust the agent that they're with. I always ask the question as a open house host that, hey, are you working with an agent that you know and trust? Rather than just, are you working with an agent? And if they say, yeah, I think I met with Cal or somebody from some company, I'm going to go, oh, okay, so you don't really know your agent. Let's talk. I'm happy to interview with you. And, if you like me better, let's work together. So you just have to be careful that there are people out there that will try and take your client. But then if they say, I know Cal Lowell, I've known him for years, I've been working with him, and I'll be like, okay, well, let me know if you have any questions. So I always try and show or go with my client to the open house if that's the only time they're available. If I know the client and I know they're going to use me and I'm not available, I'll send them to the open house by themselves. But I typically try not to go to an open house if I can schedule a private showing with my client, because then you get time to go through. You get a lot more privacy. You can, have those conversations about the house, and you don't feel rushed to get through, because there's another group waiting. So if at all possible, I usually schedule during non-open house times to go show it, because that's one of the benefit of being a realtor is you can access it anytime that it's available. So yeah, go show it before or after, or on a different day, even if you're available.
So, oh, sorry. When you said that you were nervous that another agent might take the client from you, is that because you don't have a contract with them, or are you just worried that they'll void the contract if they like the other agent better?
Both. I mean, really, if you don't have them sign a contract, then they technically can work with anybody. Contract I have people sign is really, they can fire me within 24 hours anyway. So if they go to an open house and they like the other person better, they call me up right afterwards and say, hey, Corin, I don't want to work with you anymore. And assuming I don't do my job, then they go work with the other person the next day, and it's perfectly legal compared to the, if you don't have a contract signed, then they could do that anyway. But that is, yeah, you run the risk of having somebody taking your client if they like them better. So having people sign a contract is a good idea. Have you guys seen that contract?
No, but I've heard about it. It's like on Zip Forms, right?
There's a formal one on Zip
Or I
Forms.
forgot now.
There's a more friendly one in our intranet that I can certainly send to you guys if you want.
Yes.
If you want to, I'll type my email address in the chat here, and you guys can email me if you want that form, and I can send it to you. It's just a little bit more friendly. It's the zip form ones is very legal. Like these are all the rules. You can use either one, but so just shoot me an email and I'll forward that off to you guys.
We didn't get it yet. New message, maybe it's coming. Oh, okay. Can I ask you, do you discourage your clients from going to see open houses? Because I know they want to go out and look on weekends.
Yeah, well, it depends on if you work the weekends or not. But you know, again, it kind of depends on the client, whether or not I feel like they're going to use me. So if I'm busy with open houses all weekend with different open houses, or I'm doing on the weekend and I can't make it, then I've sent clients to open houses before. And I usually send them with direction of, you know, share limited information with the agent that is there. And you know, I'll check back in after the time that you're expecting to go, or call me immediately afterwards if you have any questions or anything. So I can really, you know, dig into the fact that I'm still your agent, even though I can't show you this house right now.
Yeah, so you're making them accountable.
Yeah, you want to set that seed that any questions you have, call me. Don't necessarily ask the person hosting it or the listing agent. I will be able to find that for you and get that information for you.
Do you ever send them with your cards?
I've not done that. No, but I mean, you certainly could. If you've given them a card, just tell them to bring it. That way they can share that with whoever the host is and be a little bit more solidified on who their agent is.
Okay.
Hi, Corin. Hello. I just, you know, I'm a little bit uneasy about talking to people who said they have an agent. I did ask the people, you know, did you sign a contract?
Mm-hmm.
However, people, you know, what I hear is people say, oh no, we didn't sign a contract. But, you know, we never signed any contract. We just, you know, work with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a little bit shady, you know, gray area, you know, how much I go into there. I mean, I just afraid so much that somebody says, you know what, you're, you know, doing something against the ethics, code of ethics and
Yeah, Jane, you make up a good point. There is a gray area. Technically, if they don't have a contract signed, then they're not technically working with them. But there is, you know, the common sense code of ethics that if they know the person and they say, I've worked with this person before, or they, you know, they seem really confident on who they're working with, then I don't go any farther than that.
you know, I feel like as long as they show their houses, they have worked with them,
mm-hmm.
It's kind of should be off limit to me,
mm-hmm.
because they have put in work. I mean, I would like other people to respect me the same way, you know.
Right. No, and you're I hope before you guys didn't misinterpret what I said. I don't, like I said, if they sound confident in who they're using in an agent, a buyer's agent, or any agent, I don't go any farther than that. If I'm hosting an open house and someone says, yeah, I use you know, Jane from KW, you know, she's been great. You know, they show me a couple different houses. That's it. I'm done. You know, I'm done trying to sell myself to them. As far as that kind of stuff, but sometimes people just throw out names, like big names in the market because they've seen their billboards or something like that, because they don't want you to sell them while they're looking around the open house. So there's a difference when your client's walking through an open house. You know, there's a difference between someone that's just throwing out a name to name drop to get you to stop telling them, and they're saying their actual agent's name. So there is a difference there.
So how important is it? Just like you said, you know, even if you sign a contract, the next day they can fire you. I mean, how critical is it? I have people who I work with, I kind of want to trust them, and I have people who I ask them to sign just to make that official. I kind of, you know, what do you think? I mean, if they're gonna fire me next day, I mean, what's the point? I mean, really matters is when they make the offer, you are there.
Right, exactly. That for me is a case by case basis. I try and build the relationship throughout showing them houses. So the more we work together, the more they want to use me. And so I feel like the longer I go showing them houses and working with them, the better our relationship is. And so I don't necessarily need to have them sign that contract. I don't make everybody sign it. Sometimes it's awkward.
Okay.
Some people hate it. They immediately say, nope, I'm not working with you. You made me sign or trying to make me sign a contract. I'm out of here. So you do have to gauge that and the importance of it to you. There are some agents out there that say, nope, I don't work with anybody unless they sign a contract with me. You're going to lose clients if that's the way that you operate.
I'm worried that I might have just lost one of my buyers for telling him that I had a contract, but I tried to word it in a way where I was like, it's mostly, I was thinking of it as more of like setting expectations. And so I was like, it's nothing crazy. It's just so that it outlines my fiduciary responsibility to you. And then you can cancel it anytime.
Yep, that's exactly what it is.
I haven't heard back from him since.
Well, you have to send a disclosure out to them anyway after you have their initial conversation with them. I usually try and send it to them basically with that. I just say, hey, I have a disclosure I'm going to send with you. And there's this other document. Basically, all it says is you're going to work with me and I'm going to work with you. And we're going to help you find the best house with in the best area that you guys are looking for. I've had really good reception with that type of going into it. You don't necessarily call it a contract. You just say, hey, it's an agreement between the two of us that we're going to work together to find you the best house. So that way you don't have that scary word of contract because people are turned off by that. And so you just use different phrases. It's effectively, that's what the document I'll send you guys is. It's an agreement. Yes, they sign it and say, I'm going to work with you. But like I said, there's literally right in there, it says they can fire me within 24 hours. So it's not really a contract. I mean, it's just an agreement. Hey, we're going to work together. So that's just a different word you can use to kind of soften that blow. But yeah, when I was brand new, I lost a couple clients, I know for sure, because I had them try and sign a contract. So you just have to be careful with it. But again, it goes back to that. Do you feel like they're going to waste your time? Do you feel like they don't want to sign that contract because they're working with other agents? Or do they not want to sign that contract because they're just scared of contracts and feel like you're going to lock them into something and then disappear and come back to them in 6 months, maybe. So you just have to kind of gauge that, where their fear lies in signing that contract.
I think I might have blew it with this guy. Maybe not. I mean, he's kind of a friend, so I see him at market. So I could be like, hey, I hope I didn't scare you off with the word contract, and I'll try to like rephrase it for him.
Yeah, you could absolutely follow up.
I'm gonna be one of the agents that does require a contract, kind of. Like I just want it to be like, I don't see what the big deal is. It's not really like a contract. It's just so that we know we're seeing eye to eye on what the expectations are. It's like, hey, what do you want me to call you every day, every week? Like just setting out communication. And to me, it's just more professional. And it's like, if there is like a misunderstanding along the way, and then they decide they don't want to work with me, I just put in a ton of work for nothing. So it's like,
yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of people that feel that exact same way. They want that person to sign that agreement. And even if it's just that agreement, it's something in writing that they've agreed to, that it kind of puts that one little extra stamp on your relationship, especially if it's someone you just met. So you find your best way of working that into the conversation if you feel like a contract is, or an agreement is needed. And like I said, a lot of agents won't work with anybody that doesn't sign one, and for good reason. But you just have to gauge whether or not you feel it's worth potentially losing that client to make them sign it, or if you feel like you're still going to get the deal by not having them sign it. So I think it's a personal preference. A lot of people say you have to get your buyers to sign something so it solidifies it a little bit. Nolan, to your point, you mentioned that you may have stolen someone else's client. That's, if they're willing to work with you, that's not stealing their client, unless you're like really hounding them and selling them. If you just say, hey, I'm an agent, I'd love to work with you, and they're like, oh yeah, I like you better, I'm gonna work with you. That's their choice to fire whatever their current agent is and work with you. Do you see the difference there? If they're deciding to fire their existing agent and work with you, that's their decision, as long as you're not hard selling them.
That's hard one to tell sometimes.
It is. There is a fine line, and you have to be careful with it. And you could talk to your, other agents in your office for your market and see how they deal with it too. I feel like. Go
I'm
ahead. Jim.
particularly afraid to put something in writing, like email, that I, when I get the name, approach them first.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of that have evidence, that I'm approaching them instead of they want to do it first. So you're supposed to have them to wanting to work with you first, right? Instead of you sell yourself.
Yeah. Are you talking about if they are already working with an agent?
Yes.
Yeah. No. Once you find out that they are actually working with an agent, you have to be very, very careful about any kind of sales at all. Yeah, it's just there are times where you can tell that they're just name dropping to get you off your back. Basically, it's not really an agent they're working with. But to your point, Jim, you have to be very careful, because that is a code of ethics that you take with realtor to become a realtor, is that you don't steal people from other agents. If they choose to work with you, then that's a different story.
Thank you.
I had a situation with the buyer. She was referred to me by a friend, and I went and met with her, and her home is currently under contract. She's selling it and she's moving. And so my first question to her was, why isn't your listing broker working with you? Are you making a conscious decision not to work with him? And keep in mind, she's been under contract. Their house that she's selling has been under contract for 90 days.
Mm-hmm.
And her agent has not once reached out to her and said, hey, let's get you a home, whatever. And so she said, I didn't even know he could do that. I thought he could only sell my home. And I said, no, he can help you find a new home too, unless maybe he's choosing only to work with listings.
Mm-hmm.
That could be too. I can't speak for him, but I said, I'm happy to go through and show you what I can do for you. And then I think you need to follow up with the conversation with him to make sure that he isn't assuming that you're working with him. And so I met with her, and she was really excited about it. And then she called him on Monday. This is over the weekend. And she called him on Monday, and he said, oh yeah, I'm planning on working with you. But he had never, ever said one thing to her about it. And now suddenly that another agent came in, he's like, oh, I guess I better start working.
Yeah, that sounds like he's not really doing his job, unfortunately.
Yeah.
In that type of situation, I would ask if she feels comfortable sharing any contracts that she signed with that agent. And then,
I did ask for that.
Yeah. So then you can see if it's just a sale or if it's a sale and a buy. Because if they are working on just the sales side, you can confirm with your principal broker in your area just to make sure. But if it's just on the sales side, that's not a buyer's contract.
Right.
So there is some.
Yeah, that was my first real appointment with somebody who really wanted to work with me. And we hadn't even talked about buyer's side of anything. So I literally just put together a packet really quick, mainly for myself to go through. And it went really well. And I felt really confident, but it was a loaded situation because.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, you want to make sure before you get into it that they haven't signed any buyer's contract.
Right.
They're kind of breaching that code of ethics. So
yeah.
Before you go through the time of doing a buyer's consult and all that stuff, just say, hey, can you share any contract that you signed with this agent? I want to make sure that, we're sticking to my code of ethics that I agreed to as a realtor. Obviously you're not happy with this agent. So I'd love to help you out if I'm legally able to help you out, but we have a code of ethics that we abide by. So you providing me with any contract you sign will help me make sure that I legally help you out if I can. Because you don't want to broach that and then have that agent on the other side get wind
Right.
or trying to steal it. They can report you as well with the realtors court, and you potentially could get, you know, written up, so to speak, and license if you keep doing it. So you do want to tread lightly on that type of situation. It's kind of a delicate one.
Well, and also she was not a very, I mean, she knew nothing about it. I mean, she didn't even know the difference between what a buyer's agent does versus a listing agent.
Right. Yeah. A lot of people don't.
Yeah. And so I was really excited to work with her and we really hit it off. But in hindsight, I'm really, it's one of those things where I'm kind of like, okay, that was a learning experience. I need to have a lot of those because each time you go through them, whether it's good or bad, you learn more about the business and about people. And
my philosophy as a realtor is to fail forward. You make mistakes, as long as they're not catastrophic, you can always learn from them and continue on with your career. So, you know, just, you know, keep a positive mindset going into situations. You guys are all brand new. Every situation is different. You know, you're hopefully always going to be learning something. Lean on your principal brokers, or if you're going through the productivity coaching training, lean on your productivity coaches to ask questions. That's why you're going through that training, so they can help you out. So we're getting down to just a few more minutes. Does anybody else, I know you guys have been asking questions throughout. We kind of jumped around here and there. Does anybody else have any questions? Okay. Well, hopefully you guys learned something today. Sorry, I bounced around a lot. There was a lot of questions, this and that. Oh, Emily, do you have a question? No? If you're trying to talk, Emily, you're cutting out a lot.
Hello.
There. Sorry, we can't hear you if you're still there. I don't know if she just dropped off. Okay. Well, yeah, like I said, hopefully you guys learned something. Bouncing around here and there. It wasn't my PowerPoint I was trying to go through, so or my list, so I apologize if it was all over the place. But if you have any questions, I dropped my email earlier. I'll drop my phone number as well. Feel free to call or text. I'm more than happy to answer any questions or go through any scenario that you guys have questions about that I might be able to help out with. I do host open houses a lot in the Eugene Springfield area and are interested in shadowing. You can let me know as well, and I will try and get you in to shadow as an open house person. At least one person on here has done that before. So it's a good opportunity for you to kind of get experience without trying to do it yourself. Anyway, there's my email and my phone number. Any other last minute questions or anything before we get off here? All right.
Appreciate all your help.
All right. Thanks for bearing with me. 3 hours on a Zoom call is brutal. I know it. I apologize. So
you did great, Corin. Thank you.
Thanks. You guys get your 10 calls in or whatever if you didn't do it earlier. Those are important. You get out of this class or this training what you put into it. So I would highly recommend it. I've also taken Ignite and some of the Ignite and some of the productivity twice. So don't be afraid to come back and revisit it after you've had a couple transactions. Some of the stuff that may have went over your head may soak in a little bit more. So thanks, guys. You guys have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, bud.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.